We're live now? Yes. Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of Glamorgan Spring Bay Council held on Tuesday the 24th of February 2026.
The Glamorgan Spring Bay Council acknowledges the traditional owners of our region and recognises their continuing connection to land, water and culture. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Thank you. Agenda item 1 is the attendance and apologies. Councillors in attendance today are Councillor Churchill, Councillor Young, Councillor Walker, Councillor McQueenie, Councillor Gregson and Councillor Edwards. The Deputy Mayor has advised that he will be arriving late today, approximately half an hour I believe, and Mayor Arnold. In attendance we have the Acting Chief Executive Officer, Mr Dick Shaw, Director of Works and Infrastructure, Mr Ron Sanderson, the Acting Director of Planning and Development, Mr James Bonner, the Director of Corporate and Financial Services, Mr Craig Bennett, Executive Officer, Ms Isabel Clarkson, and our Information Technology Officer, Ms Shannon Mitchell-Moore. There are 4 members of the gallery present today. Agenda item 1.3 is the declaration of interest. So 1.2, late reports. I don't believe we have any late reports.
No late reports.
Thank you. And item 1.3 is declaration of interest in any matter of a councillor. The Mayor requests the elected members to indicate whether they have 1, any interest personally or via a close associate as defined in section 49 of the Local Government Act 1993, or 2, any conflict as described in the Model Code of Conduct for Councillors in any item included in the agenda. No declarations? Thank you. Under item 3 is public question time. Under item 3.1 is responses
Madam Mayor, item 2, confirmation of minutes.
I'm sorry?
You skipped 2.
Oh, confirmation of minutes. Thank you. Thank you. Under item 2.1 is the ordinary meeting of the Council held on the 27th of January 2026. The recommendation is on page 6. Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I'll move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held on the 27th of January 2026 be confirmed as true.
Thank you. Seconded, Councillor Edwards. Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 2.2 is the date and purpose of workshops held. There is a recommendation on page 8. Councillor McQueenie.
I move that Council notes the information.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Gregson. Thank you. Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There is an error there. I was an apology for that.
Thank you. Councillor, that's noted. Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Under item 2.3 is the audit panel minutes of Tuesday the 2nd of December. There is a recommendation on page 10 noting that the recommendation should say the draft minutes of the audit panel. Councillor Churchill, thank you.
I move that Council receives and notes the attached draft minutes of the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council Audit Panel meeting held on Tuesday, 2nd of December 2025.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Walker, thank you. Councillor Churchill, you're a member of the Audit Panel Committee. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Audit Panel, of course, always does a good job. That's because of our wonderful external members. Just to pick up on a couple of points there from the independent panel members, under their heading of independent panel member and independent panel member chair, dot point 3, just like to bring to councillors' attention having reserves of unrestricted cash available for asset management going forward is of concern. The next dot point, they've stated some concern that operating surplus ratio close to minimum and trending down. Now, these are a couple of things just to highlight. I would recommend that all councillors read the whole thing, but there's a couple of things there just to bring to your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill. There's nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 3 is the public question time. 3.1 is questions from the previous questions on notice. That was on page 11. There are answers there to a question from Mr Heck and 2 questions from Mr Leon Richardson from Council. Leo, I'm guessing that there's nothing further to add to those questions for your responses there?
Not as I understand it.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll move on. Agenda item 3.3, questions without notice. Now, I have 3 members of the gallery who wish to speak. Ms Nettlefold, thank you. Sorry. We might need to find a microphone for you, Ms Nettlefold, for the purposes of. Thank you. Thank you.
Is it working? You can hear me? Can you hear me?
Really?
It was better without it.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Got to warm
It's a
up.
bit of a delay.
Hello, hello? Okay. Anyway, I'll speak up. That's
Yes.
probably the easiest.
That's
Thank
the
you.
easiest.
My question is whether Council would consider a proposal to enliven Orford with a community-focused project. Following recent vocal support by the Mayor and councillors at the Spring Bay Studio exhibition opening and the subsequent success of the exhibition, I thought it timely to broach once again a possible future not only for the studio but also considering a possible future for the pop-up bookstall pubs, possibly in the same area to create a destination within Orford. Both organisations have limited tenure now, which can be taken away at short notice. The project could be staged by the 2 groups according to need and timing and independent of each other. So we're not suggesting that it all happens at once, it'll just depend. Anyway, I know at this stage the council would like to respond that there is no available money, and I expect that to happen. However, there are ways to move forward where the onus is not just on council but can be supported and furthered by the people that are participating in the effort and benefiting from the result. We, the studio, have sufficient funds to build a 12 by 10 shed which could double as a studio exhibition space in summer. It would give us the potential to discontinue expensive storage and provide a facility for use and access to our assets. There is also other money out there, but we need council backing to make it available and viable. We are now certain that the studio's primary audience are visitors driving north and south, and most often coming in to and staying in Orford and Spring Beach during the summer. We can and should be taking more advantage of that. I know it can't be discussed today as it will need workshopping. I hope you might consider this idea, as the studio is a solid 22-member group of women who are strongly committed to furthering the activities of the studio and the gallery over time. So that's the question. So I've got enough copies here for all those.
Thank you. We'd appreciate a copy for them for the minutes. Thank you. The question will be taken on notice as you've identified, but it certainly would seem to have merit in terms of the venue in Orford that seemed to be very popular for your gallery.
Well, I think it's just ideal. I mean, that's
Yes.
exhibition.
Yes.
It's we'll hit the nail on the head being in Orford also.
Yes.
It's mainly because of those people that come up for sharing these days.
Councillor Gregson, there's no debate.
No, it's no debate. I was just going to ask the question, how much were they thinking?
No,
That was all.
councillor, please. The question's being taken on notice. Thank you. Thank you.
And everything would have to be staged because we've got very limited. I think we can deal with the basics.
Thank you.
I'll leave that up to you and you get back to me when you can.
Thank you very much. Thank you for attending council today and putting your question. We appreciate it. Mr Patterson, please. You might need the microphone, Mr Patterson.
Loud enough. Yeah. Okay. As a new resident of the community, we've just purchased the property on the corner of Boyle Street and Freestone Point Road. I've asked the council to look into fixing my driveway crossover because I have a water problem. It has been refused, and I thought I would put it to the council today to see if we could reconsider it. And the second question is, council has just spent an enormous amount of money on Oakhampton Road, further on from my place, and I cannot see the sense of why they cannot do a little bit of work on a new resident's driveway.
Thank you for your question. It is an operational question that staff will have to deal with, but it will now be on record. Do you have the question written out at all?
No, I did not.
That's okay. We can source it from the recording. Thank you. We'll source your question from the recording of this meeting, Mr Patterson, and officers will be in touch.
And the address is actually 60 Boyle Street.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I understand that Mr Richardson, whose questions were answered, his questions on notice were answered, but I understand, Mr Richardson, you have a supplementary question you'd like to ask.
If I could, Mayor, and first of all, I'd like to appreciate the effort that everyone like sort of the avenues that we're dealing with over 12 months now. So it is a good win. I certainly hope for all the residents of Coles Bay. So I think that is a great outcome once it is implemented, of course. Once it is implemented.
Yes.
So I've got to state that. So my question to you now is, also in question one response in regard to that are going into the budget. 7, can council redirect funds from the 25-26 budget to go into these mitigation works? In the actual Harold Street Reserve budget for $35,000 for building that is noted for a barbecue. Can this funds be used to fund the mitigation of roads and the works have been applied? Excuse me. That's my question, is can funds
Thank you, Mr Richardson. It's a particularly good question, and again, it falls under the operational space. So if we could take it now on notice for you, and officers can have a discussion around the budget, and rather than wait until the next council agenda, we can put the response in the council agenda for the next meeting. But perhaps, Mr Shaw, we could contact Mr Richardson out of session with the response to his question.
Agreed.
Is that right?
Thank you.
Agreed, and we'll reply by the end of the week.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Do we have a technology problem, Ms Clarkson?
I'm just mentioning that because the microphone wasn't used for the question time, it won't be recorded in the live stream on YouTube. We can't hear anybody. Sorry, this has been an ongoing issue. However, I'd like to just ask if any constituent could provide their question in writing, and I'll speak with you at the end of the meeting so that we can get your contact details for that. Yeah, thank you.
Mr Richardson, I believe yours is already substantially in an email that you sent, so we can deal with that from there. Yes. Mr Patterson, I think yours has been recorded by Mr Shaw. Or Mr Sanderson is probably, no one's aware of that one?
We'll take it in writing.
Yeah.
All right.
I know enough information.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what, if through you, Mayor, I know the questions he's asking, the two parts, yes.
Okay, thank you. So thank you. We'll have to keep using this going forward. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your attendance. I don't believe there's any other questions. You're more than welcome to stay through the council meeting if you wish to remain. But if you have something more important to do, feel free to leave. Thank you. We'll move on, councillors. Agenda item 4, there are nil planning authority reports. Agenda item 5 is the financial reports. There is a recommendation on page 15. Councillor Churchill.
Council receives and notes the financial reports as attached to this report for the period ending 31st of January 2026.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor McQueenie. You wish to speak to the motion, Councillor Churchill?
I was just looking to see if I had any notes here, but I don't appear to, so no, thank you. I'm fine with everything I've read.
Any other speakers for the motion? Speaker against the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried. Thank you. Agenda item 6 is the section 24 committee minutes. Generally, there are none for this particular agenda item. Agenda item 7, the information reports. The 7.1 is the Acting Chief Executive Officer. There is a recommendation on page 19 noting that the recommendation should say the report of the Acting CEO. Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I move that the report of the Acting CEO be received and noted.
Is there a seconder? Is there a seconder? Councillor Edwards, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak?
Yes, if I may. Just wait until
Deputy Mayor
gets settled.
Apologies all. That's fine. Thank you.
Yes, on page 18, under Events and Community Partnerships, the Australia Day Awards and Citizens Ceremony was held on Thursday, the 22nd of January 2026. The event was well attended and provided a meaningful celebration of volunteers and new citizens within the municipality. Significant planning and coordination were required, including liaising with the Department of Home Affairs to ensure all protocol requirements were met. The team delivered a professional and celebratory event, providing a fitting tribute to the nominees and recipients. Totally agree with that. My question to you, through you to Acting CEO, is can you please explain why the Australia Day ceremony is not held on Australia Day, like as on the 26th of January? It's been the last 2 years. It has been held on alternate days as opposed to the actual Australia Day.
Sure. Madam Mayor, could I take that question on notice, please?
Absolutely.
Councillor Walker, I suspect heavily that there's a strong history behind Councillor's position on the selection of the dates. Well, so for me to provide an informed and robust decision, I'd prefer to get some background and come back to you at a later date if I could.
Totally agree.
Acknowledge it's a really important question to be asked.
The reason why I ask this is that I mean, I've been MC for the Australia Day Awards for many years, and all of a sudden, last year and this year, the date was changed, and it wasn't a decision of council. It was just changed. So, I'd appreciate an answer.
What I could add at this stage is that I understand that we obviously had Representative John Kamara as a delegate, and that could be a contributing factor in terms of the availability of the requisite representatives. So those factors might well be on the control of council. Yeah. But I commit to come back to you with an informed decision.
Thank you very much.
And Councillor Walker, if I may add to that, I understand that the Department of Home Affairs made a decision around alternate dates that could be used as a result of advocacy from some of the interstate councils that no longer wanted to hold their ceremonies on the 26th of January. So that will be some of the background that Mr. Shaw will be able to find out for you.
Am I able to respond?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
If that be the case, that should be a decision of council. You know, that's where I'm coming from.
Agreed.
You know,
Agreed.
we need to have that discussion.
Sure. Thank you. Anyone, Councillor Gregson?
I have a question, but I'd just like to, with the concurrence of the current...
Councillor Gregson, you're going to have to move the microphone closer to you or speak up, please.
Right, okay.
Thank
So
you.
I have a question of my own, but I'd just like to concurrent debate with regard to the Australia Day. A constituent, when I attended the ceremony on I think it was on the 22nd of January, said that was outside the protocol dates. It goes from the 23rd to the 30th. Could you check that out as well, please?
It's something that Mr. Shaw will work through in his response to Councillor Walker.
And my question is, page 18, subsection corresponding for noting, and I'll go through them here to the CEO, acting CEO, sorry. Dot point, 20th of January 2026, Has Waste soft plastics briefing. Could you expand on that, please?
Mr. Shaw, thank you.
Kenneth Gregson, can I come back to you with as a question on notice, and I can provide you an informed decision on that?
Councillor Churchill.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just on that same item, correspondence for noting, is that the right heading for that? Is there correspondence relating to all this that we're supposed to see, or is that heading not really correspondence for noting?
Sure.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill. As I understand it, this is typically how this matter's been reported under the current agenda. So
perhaps we need to change that, or if the correspondence not coming to us, it implies that there's correspondence and there's a lot of it, which we certainly aren't seeing. So I'm just wondering whether that's appropriate to have that as a heading as well. I think it's just misleading. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McQueen.
Yeah, I guess it's just further to that. Is that in fact meant to be meetings? Reflect meetings?
Sorry?
Is that item, correspondence for noting, does that actually reflect meetings that you've attended?
Sure, can you answer that?
Yes, Councillor McQueen, thank you for the question. That would be a more appropriate title and an accurate reflection of the meetings attended.
And if I may, through you, Mayor, to the Acting CEO, the risk considerations, I appreciate it's been a busy month, but are we saying there's no risk that Council needs to consider at the moment? I just wondered in the context of the correction around the recommendation, if that was an item that had been fully...
Through you, Madam Mayor, yeah, there's a standard default risk table that's in the agenda.
Yep.
And it's very high level in nature and doesn't appear to add a lot of value. So unless there was something of material risk that's identified in the dealings of the month, I've chose to remove that table because it's superfluous.
So for clarity, is that the one that had like the top 15 line items, if you like, for Council and a...
It's the risk table that's in the agenda and has been in the agenda for a number of months. It's consistent across each of the officers' reports, and if there's nothing material in there, I've chosen to streamline the report and remove it.
Thank you. Anything further for the Acting CEO? Nothing further, I'll put the motion in favour. Those against, carried unanimously. Agenda item 7.2 is the Director of Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Sanderson. Mr. Sanderson, would you please join us for this section? And the recommendation is on page 25. Thank you.
Thank you. I move that the Director of Works and Infrastructure report be received and noted.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Edwards, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you have anything for?
I do.
You do. Thank you.
Couple. Firstly, on page 21, stormwater and drainage, the third dot point, reshaping rock lining of eroded open drain. No, that's not the right one. One up above, number 2. Reshaping rock lining of eroded open drain at Esplanade East near Roberts Street, Tribunna completed. Pleasing to see that some maintenance has been taken place in that area. It's been very well neglected over the years, and it just makes a little back road a little bit tidier. So thank you. And on page 24, I have a bit of a concern. They've got the Coles Bay Blackwater Station. I know that this is it's in progress. The waste, I know that they've got to put the waste somewhere, but is that going to be, if they're going to put the pump or the station down near the parking area, the boat parking area, is it going to be pumped then up to the hall, or is it just going to stay there and do what it's got to do and whatever? I mean, because it's...
Tank.
Pardon?
Through your mayor, a submerged tank of 8,000 litres.
So they
It'll be pumped out with a level control at 80% full. There'll be a message that goes to the town person to get the truck to clean it out.
And so it's sucked out and taken away.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be added to the other horrendous mess that's there.
Through your mayor, just like the other public toilets up there,
where
there's no sewage, it'll be pumped out routinely, like just as a matter of course. But it's an underground 8,000 litre tank.
Thank you. Hopefully that alleviates some of the wastage that goes into the bushes.
We're just finalising a couple of things with parks to get their approval, but it's all the money's there. No, they want this, so it'll be fast. No, it's all everything's ordered within budget, etc.
Yep. I've got a couple more, if I may, Madam Mayor. Under general, so the Burgess Street and Tasman Highway, Bishno, repaint hold lines and surrounding car parks and on the stop signs and all that. I was just wondering if we can possibly have a stop sign at the corner of Charles Street and Vickery Street in Tribunna, because it is, I don't know how we haven't had a major accident there. It's been remiss of me not to bring this to council before, but there's a real concern there. I know we've got this streetscaping thing going on and all that sort of stuff, but there is how we haven't had a major collision there is beyond whatever you want to call it. So if that's just a request, and that's me.
Thank you, Councillor Walker. Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, thank you for your report, Director Sanderson. I too was pleased to see the Coles Bay Blackwater Station moving forwards. There was at one stage a lot of talk about putting it down at the golf course and using some of the product in their recirculation and watering system. I don't know whether that was ever considered by the council, but that was, a lot of the locals thought that was the best idea, but I'm sure they'll be very happy whatever happens. With the barbecue shelter at Spring Beach, does that mean that the rotary one is getting flattened, or?
Oh, no.
Don't know? Maybe you could get back to me on that one, that's fine. And I've had requests a number of times for speed humps between the Parks office and the zebra crossing. There's one there. Cleve had said to put a second one in, or even a third, because I was down there the other day and how a child was not killed is beyond me. People speed through there at 30 and 40 kilometres an hour, even though the signs, I believe there's only one 20-kilometre-hour sign down the far end, down towards the bridge, and it needs probably dropping to 5 kilometres an hour because of the number of people and kids this mother made a dive for the kid going across the zebra crossing, doing the right thing, and was nearly cleaned up by a tourist bus. So close, it wasn't funny. So dropping the speed limit there dramatically and putting in more speed humps. And the other thing I noted was at the end of the Marina car park going to the bridge, there's about 6 or 7 metres of footpath needs doing to hook it onto the bridge. Might be an idea for in the future. If people start parking over the sides, over the other side, so they walk over and they're on the designated footpath, because some people get confused, like me.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Mr Sanderson, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is an issue with speed humps in some roads because of emergency services vehicles, I believe, and that there's specific permissions for that. Is that?
Well, through you, I'll check it with the main roads or state growth. Yeah, they have strict requirements for that. I'll follow it up though, for sure.
Thank you.
Same with the sign, these other issues as well.
Thank you. Councillor McQueenie, I think you were next.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I'm not sure who I direct this to, but
This is Mr Sanderson's report, so...
Yeah, but the Orford cricket pitch, do I remember last meeting discussion of it had also happened at the Tribunner cricket pitch, the destruction? The only reason I mention this is that within the West Shelley area, where the rec ground is, through the holiday period, there were police dealing with a whole variety of matters with respect to a number of youth, including visiting of them and whatever. So I just I wondered if we'd spoken to the police about that vandalism, because I suspect they had been, the folk had been, the young folk had been harassing a whole range of people and taking a whole range of actions. So anyway, that was all. Whether it's worth, particularly around holiday time, making contact with them.
If I may comment on that.
Councillor Gregson.
Oh, thank you. Page 21, waste management, dot point 3, tyre cycle removed, one more load of tyres for recycling from the Orford WTS. Now, I'm just wondering, those tyres that are removed, are they actually recycled or just left to disintegrate? Because a number of reports in the media have found that the so-called recyclers are not recycling tyres. So are we transferring tyres to a recycler that doesn't recycle tyres or not?
Through you, Mayor, if it's the same tyre cycle that operates elsewhere, it goes to Bridgewater where they're chewed up into little bits and reused. If it's the same tyre cycle, I assume it's the same tyre cycle, and that they're certainly ground up in Bridgewater.
Thank you. And second question, on my various visits to Bicheno, the Lions Park playground seems to be very controversial, and it seems to be rather expensive. Is the expense, the quotation for a price of the works far exceeding expectations, is that only for the transference of the playground equipment from one position to another?
No, through you, my understanding it's the cost of the new equipment. My understanding.
And it's quite expensive.
Playground equipment is very expensive.
Oh, okay. Very well.
Councillor, can I just remind you that this is not a debate session. No. It is simply questions for the officers.
I was just wondering what the expense was. That was all. Where it was coming from. That was all. And the third question is relating to Councillor Walker's with regard to the pump, or what they call a Coles Bay Blackwater Station. Am I correct that does the Coles Bay have a sewage system or not?
No.
It's still, really? So I was talking to a resident there at Coles Bay, and they were really...
Councillor Gregson, can I please remind you this is not a debate session, and the question has already been answered.
Right, and I'm just representing a constituent, and they wanted to know what would the cost be of this eternal pumping from the Blackwater Station, please.
Question that will have to be taken on notice, Councillor Gregson.
If I may, there'll be no continual pumping. As I said earlier, a pump truck will come in as it does around to the toilets, pumps this out, just a small additional cost. It's not a big cost.
Oh, isn't it? Oh, okay. Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nothing further.
If I may. Close.
Close, yeah.
With a question.
You can.
I'm being very cheeky. So if you don't want me to on that property, not to ask. I'm just following up on the parking signs.
Yes.
No parking signs in Charles Street.
Yes.
They've been ordered. And what's the estimated time of?
The 2-hour parking signs.
Should be this Thursday.
This Thursday.
It should arrive.
Very
with
pleasing.
The posts and the clamps and all of that.
Yep. So they'll be here Thursday.
That's the plan.
Yep. And when do they go up?
Well, as soon as the fellows can put them up.
Right.
But they know it's important. So they get the message. They get the message. Don't worry.
Thank you, Councillor Walker. Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried unanimously. Agenda item 7.3 is the Acting Director Planning and Development, Mr. Bonner's report. Mr. Bonner, would you care to join us for any questions that might evolve? There is a recommendation on page 27. Councillor Edwards.
I move that the Council receives and notes the report on the activities of the Planning and Development Directorate.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Churchill. Councillor Edwards, do you have anything for this?
I'll reserve. Thank you.
No. Any other questions for Mr. Bonner? Councillor Walker.
Thank you. Forgive my cynicism. I must be in a bit of a mood today. So, the Animal Control and Compliance, the draft dog management policy 2024-29. This has been going on for so long, so long, and going nowhere. And by the time we get it, I fear that we're going to have to review it again. So it's just a comment, not an attack. It's just a comment, because it's just. How many years?
I was on the committee and it started about 3-4 months into my coming on, so it's 3-something years. It hasn't met, I don't think, for 2 years. Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Bonner, would you like to comment?
Yes, it has taken a long time. We have got progress now. We did get feedback from Parks on the policy. We made a couple of changes. It was some minor changes that Parks wanted. It's gone back to Parks again for the final approval. I don't expect because it was only minor, I don't expect it'll take a long time, and hopefully we can report it to Council for exhibition. I would hope in the next month or so. That's about all I can. Thank you.
Councillor Edwards?
Well, I'll finish up.
No, you're right. Councillor Edwards?
Just comment and a question. I presume that the discussions are ongoing with the issues with the Bicheno op shop, and hopefully we can come to an outcome which is A, legal, and B, favourable to them. And the same with the new gym. I presume discussions are still going on in Tribunna to keep the facilities operating in following the council's the laws the council have to implement, not through their own choice. Often.
I'm not sure that.
The discussions are ongoing. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. Noted. Thank you.
Noted.
I won't provide a response.
Councillor Edwards, Mr. Bonner's noted your comments.
That's all.
Thank you. Councillor Gregson.
Page 27, paragraph 2. It's got plans for the upcoming Spoke Festival. 27th of February, 1st of March, has been reviewed and assessed in accordance with requirements of the Public Health Act 1997. While a place of assembly licence is not required for this event, a public health risk activity will be conducted tattooing, with both the operator licence and premises from which they operate, stall, tent, gazebo, registered by council, while food vendors must be registered in accordance with the Food Act 2003. Now, my question is, with the farm, Mayfield Estate, and in accordance with very high winds and animals and things like that, what guarantee can council have in a health sense of tattooing going on in a gazebo or a tent?
Bonner, they have to comply with the relevant sections of the Act, I'm thinking.
Well, yes, it's something that the Senior Environmental Health Officer will take into consideration, through you, Mayor, my apologies, in how a licence will be issued. So it's all those things that will be taken into consideration. I can't speak on behalf of the Environmental Health Officer, though. That's a matter under the Public Health Act.
Councillor Gregson, they're all matters that will be taken into account in accordance with the processes that's required under the Environmental Health Act and Public Health and every other act that might apply to this.
Thank you. And my second question is, are DAs, development applications, are all the development applications received by Council advertised in the Examiner and the Mercury, please?
I'm sorry?
Development applications, when received by Council, are all the development applications, are they advertised in the Mercury and the Examiner, please?
Through you, Mayor, all the applications that are required to be advertised are advertised through the papers.
But not all, in that case?
Only applications that are required to be advertised.
Could you define what's required in that? What's required?
Madam Mayor, I didn't hear the question.
Tasmanian planning scheme, through you, Mayor, a discretionary application is required to be advertised. A permitted application meets all the requirements. The acceptable solution is not required to be advertised. So only discretionary applications.
Thank you.
McQueenie?
Just to return, if I can, Mayor, through you to Mr Bonner, around the animal control and compliance question, and this is reported, the questions discussed later in the agenda. My comment last meeting was, having been a member of that committee, when Director Woodward was here, the last time the committee met, there was a commitment at that meeting to go back to the committee about the communication strategy once it had come back from Parks and Wildlife. I'm not saying it has to be done, but you have probably about 12 individuals out there in the community who are on that committee who are expecting Council to go back and have that discussion, because the committee talked about how it wasn't just about place, it was also how we get out the message about education and people being aware of the issues. So as it reads here and later in the agenda, I'm not sure it's understood that that's what that issue was. But Council, as in staff or officers or us, need to decide, and I would suggest it would be useful to contact those people on the committee to advise them of where that's up, because it's still an active committee, albeit that it hasn't met for 2 years.
You'll note that comment.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll note that comment. It's something I can follow up with what the circumstances are.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Other questions for Mr Bonner? Anything further? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? The motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mr Bonner, very much. Agenda item 7.4 is the Director of Corporate and Financial Services, Mr Bennett's report. There is a recommendation on page 29. Mr Bennett, you may care to join us. Thank you. Recommendation is on page 29, I believe. Councillor McQueenie, thank you.
I move that the Director of Corporate and
Financial Services,
thank you, report be received and noted.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Walker. Councillor McQueenie, do you have a question for Mr Bennett?
No.
For Mr Bennett? Councillor Gregson?
Yes, just like to note that the recommendation says in the printed version that the Director of Works and Infrastructure report received and noted.
I'm sorry?
On page 29, under the recommendation, it says that the Director of Works and Infrastructure report received and noted. It should be the Director of Corporate and Financial Services.
My version says the Director of Corporate and Financial Services report be received.
No, but that's why I read that.
That's administrative errors.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just it was an error. Thank you. It's been corrected. Yes, it has. It has been corrected. Thank you.
Oh, okay, fine. Thank you. Yep. Thank you.
Councillor Walker.
Thank you. Just through you to Mr Bennett, how are you settling in?
Through the Mayor, settling very well, yeah. Enjoying being back in Tasmania. It's been fantastic.
Any other questions for Mr Bennett? Councillors? Nothing further? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you, Mr Bennett, very much. Under item 7.5 is the action register. There is a recommendation on page. Sorry, Councillor Young.
I move that council receives and notes the active resolution report.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson. Councillor Young, do you wish to comment?
No, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any other? Councillor McQueenie, then Councillor Gregson.
Just a quick question, and during the last meeting, beyond the motions, where actions arise, like your request that I provide information about certain proposals, where are they recorded so that, because that was an action but not that related to the motion but not recorded, so I don't know how we ensure that those things are also recorded.
Can I take that question on notice and I'll go back and review the recording just to see how it was transpired, because I agree it's important that we ensure everything's documented and actioned appropriately.
And that will currently read that I haven't. That will currently read that I haven't done that.
Well, can I just take clarification? Was that a comment that I haven't done something, or?
No, it hasn't. That action, when you read it, that hasn't occurred. I haven't, if you like, completed that action. Haven't had the opportunity, so.
Madam Mayor, I couldn't hear what's being said.
Okay, Councillor.
Apologies.
Yeah.
I've got my hearing aid on and turned up.
I was just responding when the action, when the acting CEO goes and listens to the recording around the action.
Was that a question, Councillor McQueenie?
No, I was saying that my response won't actually be, I haven't provided a response. So that's the status of it.
Councillor Young, thank you.
I'm not. Thank you. No, I'd just like to say that the concept is very good as far as councillors be informed of progress towards implementation and completion of council resolutions, and the transparency support effective governance and maintain clear oversight of council decision-making process. So the concept's very good. Hopefully the implementation will be there. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill.
Yes, just a couple of things. If I can ask, the Beatty Avenue land sale, has that progressed at all yet? Is the agents got that in hand? Or?
Sure. Through you, Chair, we're having a look at it. As I recall, where we landed was that there was an administrative error identified in the correspondence that was the letter that was sent to adjoining property owners, in that it didn't provide them with the opportunity, I think, to appeal or the decision or the position of council. So I think in the interest of transparency, council agreed to restart the process, noting that there was at least one property that had changed hands during that process. And since then, the matter hasn't been actioned since, noting the considerable workload of the council, and it hasn't been considered a priority matter.
Okay. And I have a second question there, if I may, Mayor, to the Acting General Manager. It is the last item, the Taswater PSP5 letter of support. Was that letter sent to Taswater as a letter of support?
Through you, Madam Mayor. I guess I can see the interpretation challenge here. It says it's completed in that the motion was that a letter be sent to Taswater, and now that motion was lost 4-4 on the floor. Therefore, no letter was sent.
Okay, so that's
so
actually
it's completed.
What it says there is not in fact correct.
Well, that's sort of how it was recorded.
Okay, all right. It's okay.
I've clarified it on the record, and you'll note that in the news today, Taswater has actually sought to appeal the decision from the regulator, who's obviously the regulator. Their draft findings were to sort of slash, I think, by around 50% Taswater's recommendations or requests. It remains an outstanding issue.
Thank you.
Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, a question to our acting CEO, Beattie Land Sale. Does that mean, because of the muck-up, the procedure will have to go through again, be gone through again?
Through Madam Mayor, thank you, Councillor Young. In terms of the procedure is pretty straightforward, that adjoining landowners will get written to. We already have valuations provided by, we sought valuations from 3 realtors that operate in the area, so it's really just a simple administrative process now to...
So the answer is yes, is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Just
Councillor Gregson, you've already asked a question.
No, I don't think 7.5 has been put to a vote.
I beg your pardon?
I don't think 7.5 action register has been put to a vote.
It hasn't yet, because we're still discussing it, Councillor.
Well, that's just a motion. It's nothing to do with anything else. It's I thought the revised capital works program has progressed. I can't see anything in relation to Beattie Street or anything like that in this action register.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit lost. Could you?
No, it's just that here you've got the active resolution register to provide council information. That's the concept. The recommendation is the council receives and notes the active resolution report. It's nothing to do with Beattie Street. We haven't voted on that to progress to the...
But we're not voting on any of the matters on here. We're only noting the action register.
Yes.
They're the outstanding resolutions.
Yes. But have we progressed to the revised capital works program? Have we or not? No. We haven't. Oh, okay, fine, that's fine. Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'm happy you put it to the vote to eliminate any doubt.
Thank you.
I'll listen, Councillor
Thank you,
Gregson.
Councillor Young. If there's nothing further, no further questions on the active resolution report, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Unanimously. Thank you. His officers' reports requiring a decision. 8.1 is a revised capital works program. There is a recommendation on page 32. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. There is a Councillor Edwards, please.
I move the Council adopt the proposed increase in the Capital Works programme for the 25-26 financial year of $1,732,649 from an adopted budget position of $7,339,298 to a revised budget position of $9,071,947 as at 24th of February 2026, and authorised for $179,514 of the funding to be allocated from the Recreation Reserve for the Bicheno Triangle project.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Young. Councillor Edwards, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Not at the moment, thank you.
At the moment. Councillor Young, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, Madam Mayor.
No. Councillor Churchill, for or against?
I am for the motion, but there's some things that I would just like to discuss in there.
Thank
That's
you.
okay.
Thank you.
I support all of the 3 projects that are being considered in these major increases to the Capital Works program. While most of the increase in this request for Capital Works is from grant allocations, a considerable amount of around $600,000 is from council reserves. Councillors should remain mindful of the impact that these amounts have on the cash reserves. Also remembering, for example, $115,000 for the purchase of 2 new motor vehicles last month. These large amounts will impact the upcoming budget and rates resolution. We need to give consideration to where the cash required will come from for both in the short term and more sustainably in the long term. We've had a discussion around the Beattie Street sale of, and there is if we get that property sold, there's an allocation of money to come from that, which was what council moved and agreed to last year, to cover $210,000 of that component. The sale of B Street is yet to happen, and to my knowledge, yet to be commenced, but we're told all the reasons now. We know why it's being held up. And we're already considering spending funds here that we don't yet have. And I think these are the sorts of things that we as a council should be concerned about. And potentially we may not have from that sale. This property has been up for sale about 3 to 4 times over the last 15 years, and so far there hasn't been a result, and I'm not confident that there will be a result now. So I think we need to bear in mind that we're already budgeting money that may not come from that source. The small and seemingly inequitable allocation of federal grant funds by the state government is projected to continue without state government support for change. Hiding behind the independence of the State Grants Commission and with no review of the processes of the Commission for 2 decades, GSBC will continue to be unfairly treated. We must be mindful of any increases that we approve and the future impact on rate revenue. And as a member of the audit panel, once again, I know I'm always banging away on this, but I do respect the opinion of the panel members. And in their recent minutes, they did, draft minutes, they did note the comment. I'd like you to note the comment from the council audit panel in reference to the 25-26 budget that reduced operating surplus in previous years will impact on capacity to fund asset renewal in future years. I think we should bear these things in mind as we move forward, especially in this period coming into the budget and rates resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to put an amended motion, please.
I'm sorry?
I'd like to put an amended motion.
An amended motion?
Mm-hmm. May I progress with the motion?
Yes, I think.
I move that council adopt the proposed increase of the capital works program. This paragraph is the current motion, so I'm prepared to say the current motion and move on from there. Is that what you'd like me to do, or to read the whole current motion?
You move your amendment, okay, Councillor, and we'll see where we go. That
council adopt the proposed increase in the capital works program for the 25-26 financial year of $1,732,649 from an adopted budget position of $7,339,298 to a revised position of $9,071,947 as at 24 February 2026, and authorise for $179,514 of the funding to be allocated from the recreational reserve for the Bicheno Triabunna project. And noting for the need for council to secure an improved recurrent local government funding for our community, that council furnish our federal elected member, the Honourable Rebecca White, with an urgent written request for her to personally present and discuss the following request with her ministerial colleague, Treasurer Jim Chalmers. That being that the Federal Treasurer requests the Commonwealth Grants Commission review and report on Glamorgan Spring Bay's general purpose allocation outcome against the legislated primary allocation principle, that is horizontal fiscalisation, and B, and that he requests the Commonwealth Grants Commission actions the review and provides its report in time for the outcomes to be considered ahead of the 2026-27 general purpose allocations. And noting that Carol McQueenie has undertaken detailed analysis across all 29 municipalities that clearly demonstrates Glamorgan Spring Bay's demonstrable, embedded and endlessly compounding comparative disadvantage, that council accepts Carol McQueenie's standing to share her work in any forum, provided at no cost to council. Her standing offer to share her work in any forum, provided at no cost to council, to maximise the Honourable Rebecca White and, if requested, the Federal Treasurer and Office understanding of Council's position to maximise our community's chance to gain a fair share of Tasmania local government general purpose funding.
Councillor, you do have that. Do I have a seconder for the amendment? Gregson. Thank you. Councillor Benny, would you like to speak to that amendment?
Yep.
That you might give Ms Clarkson a copy of that.
He's got another here too. To start with, it goes to the very issues that the audit panel have recognised and also that Councillor Church has just spoken about, that our financial position continues to be tenuous and our poor outcome from the grant process arrangement for our base grants, or otherwise known as general purpose grants, is a consequence of 25 years without review, and that's been allowed because the legislation doesn't have an embedded review mechanism. So the only chance we have as a community and as a council to now influence or achieve any review is if the Federal Treasurer specifically asks the Commonwealth Grants Commission to do a review for us. There's no other mechanism. So in that context, we are incredibly lucky, if you like, in the context of our current federal elected member, and it is Commonwealth legislation, is in fact a ministerial colleague of the Federal Treasurer. I spoke to her on the weekend because I was where a place she was, and she has indicated that if Council was interested in having her personally present and advocate for the Treasurer to do that review, she's willing to do that. And thus this particular motion, which will allow, finally, somebody to be in the ear of the Federal Treasurer, who's one of his colleagues, to advocate for what we would hope to do, which is to have a review that can then is the only way that we'll get a review of what our allocation is. I've said previously on a number of occasions, the work that I've done, I'm happy to share whenever and wherever, because all it does is say, show the disadvantage comparatively that we experience, and it's to say that to Council and community, I continue to be willing to share that at absolutely no cost, and believe that it sends a powerful message in terms of quite clearly our demonstrable disadvantage. One other thing I'd just quickly add is that having done an analysis of the last 12 years, which is new information that I've done of our outcome, Glamorgan Spring Bay 12, 13 years ago used to get the exact same amount as Tasman Council. They now get over I think it's 780,000 a year, and ours has plummeted from being even to less than a third of what they get at 240,000 a year. And last year they took us back as far as they can. Our per capita is now 1/5 of what Tasman's is, per capita allocation. And with every other possibility exhausted, this is our only chance, but a real one.
Councillor Churchill, you seconded, no, Councillor Gregson, you seconded the motion.
Yes, I did.
The amendment.
Yes, correct.
Do you wish to speak to
no,
it?
I'd just like to concur with Councillor McQueen.
Again, I'm going to ask you to speak up, Councillor, even though we've got microphones. And like Councillor Young, I have my hearing aids turned up as far as I can get them, and I still struggle to hear you.
Thank you. Okay, is that better? Is it? Is that better? Testing.
I didn't hear that last word.
Oh, didn't you? Oh, didn't you, Councillor Young? No, I'd just like to concur with Councillor McQueen's sentiments and her amendments. I think it's. I don't think it's really hard to argue against the concept of increased funding from the State Grants Commission, which we haven't been able to access for a number of years, and this might be an opportunity. So I think Council should take this opportunity because we've got nothing to lose, basically.
Thank you. Councillor Young, then Councillor Edwards.
Madam Mayor, it was a long amendment. I'll listen to it. And my mind said, what damage will it do to the original motion? The answer is none. What chance of success has it got? Well, I'm not sure, I hope. So I'm going to support the amendment because even if it doesn't work, it probably is the only immediate chance we've got because the whole thing is political. So I will support it.
Councillor Edwards and Councillor Walker.
Whilst I don't disagree with Councillor McQueenie's point, I wonder whether it would be better as a separate motion altogether at a different time, because to me it does seem to 3 times the size of the original motion and heads off in a completely different direction, really, in some ways. Whilst I agree that it certainly needs doing, but I also wonder whether, as a council, if and I know we're serious about this, do we need to find some funds and have a company like Deloitte or somebody do this as a professional? Not that I'm saying Councillor McQueenie's work hasn't been good. A professional thing which can be presented to the government, not just work from a local councillor who's obviously heavily impacted by the lack of grant funding. I just think maybe it may carry more weight coming from a professional consultant organisation, even though a cost's involved, I know, but it may be better received. That's just a point, not a... Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. Look, I concur with Councillor McQueenie's amended motion. However, I'm not sure that it should sit under this because it's not got anything to do with what this is. If I'd hate for it to get lost. Is what I'm trying to say. Is that I'd hate for it to get lost in this, which is what we're talking about. It needs to be, in my opinion, this motion, the original motion moved, and then this one be a motion, a separate motion somewhere. I don't know where and how, and I totally support what Councillor McQueen is trying to do, but I'm just not quite sure that it sits in the right place, and whether, as I said, it'll get lost. I'm hoping that it doesn't, but that's my concern. It's very well read and written and read, and yeah, I'd support it any other way, but I just have a fear that it would get lost.
It deserves its own platform.
Councillor Edwards.
Absolutely.
Can I ask? Yeah, sorry, I was just going to ask
Deputy Mayor?
if potentially Mr Bennett or Mr Shaw could make comment on how they'd see this landing. Yeah.
Okay, so before Mr Bennett, before that, and Mr Shaw, I agree with Councillor Walker. I think it has merit. My concern is that it is endorsing Councillor McQueenie's work, which I'm sure has been quite extensive, and I'm not sure, again, that it sits inside this motion. So, Mr Shaw?
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, Councillor McQueenie, for the amended motion and the discussion that's gone around the chamber around that. I guess what I say here is effectively another lobbying process, in that we've tried that with the State Treasurer, and we've got a fairly black and white response. I'd be hesitant to then seek to lobby from another political avenue without the support of the State Treasurer. I think it's highly unlikely that the Federal Treasurer would want to go against the State Treasurer to take something up. My other comment, and these are my comments only, Councillor Edwards does have a good proposition, and I think it's a proposition that should be very much considered by the chamber, in that whilst Councillor McQueenie has done some amazing work, there's the question of, is it from an informed person and whatnot, but I actually think there's merit in considering a funded project that's independent of all people within the chamber, and and it's a two-stage project. So it can, the work of Councillor McQueenie can feed into it by all means and can support that process, but we have independent consultants, specialists in these sort of areas. They can do their own assessment. That's the first stage. The second stage then is a pathway to execution, and there's consultants, and the same consulting firm can probably provide this service, but there are experts in identifying, well, now what are the pathways in which this position should be premised? And it would be then for the council to say, well, you've got option A, B or C, and the council might support option B. Now that's the path in which we seek to lobby or seek to influence or seek to have administrative processes kicked off. Now to me, that would be a more independent, structured, strategic, robust and independent process. And what it does is it doesn't disregard the work of Councillor McQueenie. In fact, it recognises it and it value adds it, and it puts a transparency and accountability layer over it, which I think is what this council needs, wants, and the community deserves and respects.
Do you wish to add anything?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I back up the Acting CEO's comments, and I also thank Councillor McQueenie for her passion. I think it is an issue that needs to be dealt with. It's something that hasn't been dealt with for a long time. I believe that it would be better to get an independent facilitator. I think that would add more weight to the argument you're trying to put forward. And I think you're better off to put a separate report rather than trying to tack it on the end of this report, which is to do the revised capital works program. I agree with Councillor Walker that it wouldn't have the weight coming off the back of a report. I think it's got more weight if you have an independent party that's looked into the issues, put it all together, and then a report comes through council where you endorse for that to happen. You need to work with the right stakeholders. So once again, I'll back up the Acting CEO's commentary there. You need to use the stakeholders outside of this body that can actually help to get the outcome you're after. You know, everyone's trying to get that extra grant funding money. So I certainly support what Councillor McQueen is trying to achieve.
And thank you. We, if I may, Councillor Churchill, we have been lobbying quite significantly over the past 12, 18 months, including Councillor McQueenie going to federal government as Carol McQueenie. And I struggle with the concept of a councillor being able to take their councillor hat off and put an individual hat, but that's another matter. Councillor McQueenie, I'll come back to you. Good, thanks. Councillor Churchill?
Yes, if I may, Mayor. Respectfully, Acting CEO, the political situation that you were referring to there, I think, could probably work in our favour. The Treasurer, the State Treasurer and the Federal Treasurer are on opposite sides of government anyway. So I think that actually could work in our favour. But I think there's a timing thing, there's an urgency around this now. This has been going on for a number of years. Whatever we come to today needs to be done. It needs to happen rapidly. We're losing every opportunity, and the longer we put up with this and the longer we don't follow every avenue, I'm prepared to go down every rabbit hole to find what we can do. And this to me is another one with a very, very good link to our state. We've got Rebecca White there in quite a senior position as a federal politician now, and I think we must not lose that link, especially if she has volunteered to support this whole concept. And she must, well, I don't know whether she does understand exactly what's going on, but I'm assuming so.
She's seen the presentation last year.
Right, okay.
Sorry, apologies.
And I just don't think there's a little window opening here. There's a gate opening that might be valuable to us. I just think if we miss this one, we could have missed a lot. Remember, this is basically federal funding. The state government has done everything they can to cover their lack of action by hiding behind the State Grants Commission. This is a federal avenue, and they are the ones that actually hand out the bulk money. I know they don't allocate it, but they hand out the bulk. And at the end of the day, with that being so long since this whole process has been reviewed, I think we should be following this avenue as soon as possible. Thank you.
Churchill, I do I agree with you in terms of it is an opportunity to do. My concern is that this motion endorses Councillor McQueenie's analysis as Carol McQueenie, not as a council. And there's been no, if you like, fact checking or data checking from officers in relation to it. Now, I accept that Councillor McQueenie has done an enormous amount of work on this. I get that. But I'm concerned that this is accepting Carol McQueenie rather than Councillor McQueenie. And if council's going to endorse anything, I believe it needs to be as a councillor, because that's what Councillor McQueenie, Carol McQueenie is, an elected member of this council.
Can I just make one short further quick comment?
Yeah.
We're privileged here to have someone who has the skills. Most councils don't have a skill-based at all. You're not on here because of your skills. We're lucky enough to have someone in this situation with an extreme amount of skill, a lot of experience, and if we don't use that, how stupid are we? Any other board would do that, would use the people they had, and they would like to have those sort of people, qualified people, to cover a whole lot of things.
The Act requires the CEO to qualify, to provide, to do the qualified advice, and if we are endorsing Carol McQueenie rather than Councillor McQueenie, Councillor McQueenie wants it as Carol McQueenie, Miss McQueenie, rather than councillor, because it is her work.
Can
and
I?
So, no. That's my only concern, that this council is endorsing work of an individual, albeit someone who does have a lot of experience, as you've identified, but they sit on this council as Councillor McQueenie. So that's my only concern, that do we endorse the work of a councillor as an individual? Councillor McQueenie, I'll just see if anybody else has got any other comments that they wish to make. Deputy Mayor, you asked a question of the officers. Do you have anything else you'd like to?
I just thought that the answer given made a lot of sense, and I appreciate the work Councillor McQueenie's done in this space, but I think that work has got to feed into someone that can put together an authorised report that is removed from council or and private individual and presented as a whole from council. And I think that can be done. I think Councillor McQueenie's input into that would be very important, and I'm sure the people that did the work would also have other inputs that would be equally as important, as would our administrative and executive team would have inputs that would be just as important as well. So I think you need that body of work to have. When you present to these people, you can't have it dismissed. It can't be dismissed in any way, shape or form, and that it is a solid piece of work that can't be questioned under any circumstances, and will probably only get one shot to put that piece of work to them. I don't think you could do this piece of work, and if it didn't work out for us, I don't think we can go back next time and say we've done a bit more. So I think we should act on it quickly, and we should get it going. And again, I don't think this piece of motion should sit under the other part.
Just give me a sec, Councillor McQueenie. I will let you close debate if you wish. It would seem to me the time frame is obviously quite limited here. So I really don't see why this council couldn't just write to Ms White and ask her to take the matter up. Does she need all the advice? I mean, she has seen a multitude of things in relation to this state grants during her time as a state politician. So surely it's just a matter of writing to her now and asking her to take it up.
I'd like to respond to the discussion that's happening now, because
just give me a moment, Councillor McQueenie. Councillor Walker, I think it's important for us to have a robust discussion around this. So yes,
and I totally
appreciate you doing that too, because, you know, the rules say. But fortunately, we can take some liberties. And I just want to reiterate that I appreciate this so much. I really do appreciate this. But to me, it doesn't sit underneath this motion. I think, and time is of the essence, and I totally get it, and I do appreciate what Councillor Churchill said, but I also appreciate and respect what our acting CEO said in the sense, and various others around the table, in the fact that, and I'm not dismissing Councillor McQueenie and or Carol McQueenie by saying it's just Carol McQueenie when I say this, because I think it needs a bit more body, a bit more guts, and that level, that a bit higher level than just Carol McQueenie. And that's not disrespectful to you, Councillor McQueenie, because I just feel, you know, the work that you've done has just been tremendous, and I commend you for it. But it just needs a little bit more guts, because it hasn't been listened to, you know, since you started doing this. Yes, they're all over there.
Mr. Sanderson. Mr. Sanderson.
If I may, I don't mean this out of order. Through you, Mayor, to me, that's not an amendment. That's a foreshadowed motion with two separate issues. Like, that's, in respect, it's a valid motion, but it's a foreshadowed motion, independent of the actual motion.
So I got this wrong, Mr. Sanderson.
Well, no, you didn't get it wrong. You misunderstood, maybe. I don't know. But I'm just saying, to me, it's not an amendment.
Right.
It's something that stands alone.
Yeah. Okay.
So you have an original motion, then Councillor McQueenie could have a foreshadowed motion which has been moved and seconded.
Okay.
So you can deal with the first one first and then the foreshadowed motion.
So
I would suggest.
I've already accepted it as an amendment, so can that be changed? Pardon?
If your rule, Madam Mayor, I'll accept it, whatever your ruling is.
Councillor McQueenie.
All I want to do is respond to some of the things that have been said that aren't quite right. So it's and so I'd like the opportunity, given it was accepted, to just make a few statements. Right? The first is, the easiest thing, it seems to me, is get rid of number 3, and I'm comfortable with that. Your point that what we need to do is to get Rebecca White, the Honourable Rebecca White, to do it, is the key issue. There's been discussions of what needs to be done at state level. When myself and Peter Porch met with the President of the Commonwealth Grants Commission, so you don't get any higher, he looked bored in the first few minutes, and by the end of the meeting he was saying, oh, you should be going and saying this and all the rest, and I would love to do it, but I cannot breathe without the Federal Treasurer asking me specifically. So it's not about advocating to bureaucrats here. What needs to happen to change our situation is a review. Now, the reviews that happen around this grant funding touch every single bit of soil in Australia, because it's every local government, right? And there's a distinct amount of money. So if a review happens and someone loses, someone wins, or someone wins and someone loses, which is why for 25 years they haven't done a public review of this whole thing. The Federal Treasurer says the Commonwealth Grants Commission, they are the only body currently who can go and do a review. This isn't about the worth of my evidence. My evidence is pulling together what the State Grants Commission and the census data says. It's not complicated. So it's not to pay someone to do what I've done is to pay them to do what I've done, because it is bringing together published data. This year at the Commonwealth, it's last year, it was November, at the the local government conference for Tasmania. I don't know if you attended that session. The president of the Australian Local Government Association, so they sit on National Cabinet, they're fairly important, they represent local government, and Kerry Vincent got up and said, this year we actually believe we're going to be getting the 1% increase to 1% of the federal budget. The discussion has been, well, if we're going to have this winning and losing, anyone saying I'll do a review is going to be concerned, which is Eric Betts, concerned that if I support this for you to get a bit extra, I'm effectively taking off others. If there is an injection coming as expected, we could get a super injection without it disappointing other councils. That process of deciding those allocations is happening in the next 2 months. If we want to get in this once in a lifetime, because it is, well, once in a generation, because it is 25 years, we have to do it now. We have somebody, the people that the National Treasurer will listen to is the people that he credits or he has contact with. It isn't sort of Deloitte's or those sorts of companies. Rebecca White has said she's happy to walk in the room and talk to him about doing this very discreet piece of work that could fundamentally transform our funding situation. Get rid of number 3. This isn't about me. This is about our community having a chance. Kerry Vincent, you were there, Mayor, when we sat with him. He said, I think you should be getting $1 million a year out of the state grants. That's never going to happen unless there's a review of how the State Grants Commission operates. And the only people that can do that is the Commonwealth Grants Commission. And I've been there and spoken to the President who said, I can do it if the Federal Treasurer asked me. That's the bit we have to land. And it isn't about more work. Somebody who understands this problem is ready to walk in the door for our community in the next week and say, listen, we need to do this. And so get rid of number 3. It's not about me.
Can't do that. We've already accepted. I've already accepted it as an amendment.
I can reread it.
Well, move the motion. Councillor has moved the motion.
Yeah.
Whether it's been debated or not, may you withdraw the motion with the consent of the seconder?
Yes, but bear in mind, this is an amendment, not a motion.
It's an amendment to a motion.
Yeah, sorry, Mr Bennett, yes, please do.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just wanted to pick up on what the Director of Works and Infrastructure was talking about. So you need yourself. Sorry, you need to, Siri. You need to consider whether the amendment's a direct negative of the original motion. Yes. You can't have an amendment as a direct negative. So if you think it's adding to the original motion, then it's okay to be an amendment. But if it's a direct negative, then it should be a foreshadowed motion. So you deal with the motion first. That loses, then you go to the foreshadowed. If you keep it as an amendment, you will deal with that first. You'll vote on it. If it gets up, that then becomes the motion.
Yes.
If it's lost, then you'll go back.
I understand all of that, Mr Bennett. It's just that I've accepted it as an amendment. Okay. And I'm not sure what the process is past that. Mr Sanderson, could you give me some direction here in relation to process, please?
If the amendment still includes the first bit, yes, that becomes the new motion, yes.
Right.
If people don't like the amendment, then it's lost and it just goes back to the original motion.
And then what?
On the original.
Councillor Edwards.
Surely to goodness, can we not just pass the original motion and then this comes in as another motion, even if we have to have a special meeting, because it is that important? Can we have a special meeting and come in and do it as another motion?
Under the meeting regulations, if an amendment comes, it has to be dealt with first. The amendment has to be dealt with first, and we've accepted this as an amendment. I'm just trying to work out whether it can be changed to a foreshadow motion, and that's where I'm lost.
Councillor Queenie could withdraw it if we have another meeting, because it is. This may seem quite rare. I fully agree with Councillor McQueenie of the urgency. I fully agree with about backdoor. If Rebecca White has a relationship with the Treasurer, that's what will get you a lot further than sitting at the bottom pile of bureaucracy.
Agree with that.
Completely agree. So if we can, it's of the utmost importance. But it doesn't, in my opinion, need to get lost in Duck Park Bridge. It needs to be, it's that important. I'll come back tomorrow and do another damn meeting to get it done properly and with the proper diligence from the council executive over top of it, because sadly at the moment, and this is no disrespect to Carol, it's from Carol McQueenie, who maybe doesn't have the backing in the eyes of some of the bureaucrats that it carries anything, and that's disappointing.
Councillor McQueenie, that's...
You know, I don't mean that as an insult, because I think it's terrific what she's done.
Thank you.
But I think it needs to be really...
Councillors, can I just get something sorted here? What I'm trying to determine is I have accepted this motion as this amendment as an amendment. Now, under the meeting procedures, the amendment has to be put. If the amendment is passed, it will then become the substantive motion. So, is it a foreshadowed motion? or is it an amendment? And that's where I'm not going to kid you.
Sorry,
I'm lost.
Councillor McQueenie said it's a foreshadowed motion when you first spoke to it.
No, I didn't. I said it's an amendment motion. Yep. Can I just say that if this goes to a special meeting, that's another 2 weeks. Because a special
That's
meeting,
right.
well, no, this is what we need to understand. If we're saying let's do tomorrow, we can't do it tomorrow. If you're going to have a special meeting, it takes an extra 2 weeks.
Can I?
Yes, Councillor Walker.
This is just throwing it out there. Can Councillor McQueenie and Councillor Gregson withdraw this motion? This is first question. So this can be withdrawn, right? Then it goes back to the motion on page 32. We put that motion with this foreshadowed motion. Is that a way of being able to do it?
It would be.
So what would happen is that Councillor McQueenie and Councillor Gregson withdraw this motion, we go back to that one, and then we come back to a part of this motion, and noting the need for council to secure improved recurrent local government funding, that part of the motion would become the foreshadowed motion on involved in this.
Yes.
And that way we can deal with it today.
Yes, exactly.
Sounds great if we can deal with it today, and that's up to the chairperson.
Yep.
That's
Great.
one way of doing it. Like he's withdrawing the motion. Really, that's quite simple.
Accept that as a separate motion today, that's fine.
Yeah, well, that is, if I may, that is the way. So would you like me to say it again?
No.
No.
That's fine.
You understand
That's
it?
fine. It's all
So,
good. That's what I'm
Madam
trying
Mayor,
to
there is
determine.
a request, there should be a request from Councillor McQueenie and Councillor Gregg to withdraw this motion.
Thank you.
Withdraw the amendment.
So
Withdraw the
it's the
amendment.
amendment.
Yes.
To withdraw the amendment. So,
And then this motion becomes the motion, and then
does.
after that is voted on, there is a foreshadowed motion that tacks onto that. Right.
Excellent.
Madam Mayor, I ask a question about it.
Yes.
Does a foreshadowed motion need the sort of motion, notice that any motion in a council meeting needs?
Madam Mayor, can I just make
Doesn't.
a comment there?
So the withdraw.
Can I just make a
Mr.
comment?
Bennett, yes.
If you vote on the motion gets up, there is no foreshadowed motion.
No,
it's
exactly
gone.
right.
It only becomes foreshadowed if the motion's lost.
You have to be able to accept another motion.
Councillors, please.
It can be a motion without notice.
Right.
Because it's on the agenda, it refers to an agenda item, it can be a motion without notice.
Great. So what we will do is, where's the withdrawal, please? Councillor McQueenie.
No, this is to withdraw.
Yeah.
It's 18.
Yeah. It's there somewhere, I know.
18.5.
So a councillor under 18.5, a councillor who has moved a motion, whether it's being debated or not, may only withdraw the motion with the consent of the seconder, if a seconder was required, or with the consent of the meeting. So, Councillor McQueenie, I'm asking, will you withdraw your amendment in accordance with?
Yes, I will.
18.5, with the consent of Councillor Gregson.
Well, just before I give that consent, I'd just like to clarify what...
Councillor Gregson, sorry, you need to clarify what?
Yes, I'm going to clarify something before I withdraw my seconder. What Mr Bennett was saying is that if it goes back to the original motion, and that original motion is voted on, that's it.
Yes, it is. But then Councillor McQueenie can, inside this matter, Councillor McQueenie can move another motion
without notice.
With that, as a notice it's a motion without notice. Okay.
Like Ms Anderson said.
Can I just confer with the Director of Works? Yeah.
Councillor Gregson, please.
Yeah, I'm just...
No, Councillor Gregson. Councillor Gregson, please listen to me. The motion will be dealt with. Councillor McQueenie has agreed to withdraw her amendment.
Yes, I understand that.
If you support it.
Yes, well, I'm trying to clarify whether I'm going to support it or not, because I've got to be guaranteed that if it goes to the original motion and it's voted on, that's it. No
No.
foreshadow.
Madam Mayor, I asked that the meeting be adjourned for 5 minutes.
No, we don't need
so
to do-
Mr Gregson can
Councillor-
have his advice.
Councillor Young, we do not need to adjourn the meeting. It is very clear what will happen.
They have agreed.
Councillor Gregson.
Another motion. As a motion without notice.
They've agreed to.
Yes. And the Mayor
Councillor-
said she'll take it.
Councillor-
It's fine. Please agree.
Councillor Gregson, the situation is that if you agree to the withdrawal of the amendment, the original motion will be put.
Yes.
And I can't recall who moved that now.
Councillor Edwards and Councillor Young.
Councillor who?
Edwards and Young.
Edwards and Councillor Young, thank you. Then Councillor McQueenie can move a motion without notice immediately after this motion.
And the Mayor has said she'll accept that.
And I can accept that. I have the capacity to accept a motion without notice inside this agenda item.
So you will accept that?
Absolutely.
If it gets moved.
It will need to be, my only concern is it will need to be, as Councillor McQueenie identified, for my support, is that part 3. It's basically, yes, basically, I'm guessing that the motion without notice will be effectively section 2 in your motion here.
Yeah, from the end of where it starts here,
Yes.
noting council, to the end of that paragraph. No 3 at all. So all of 2. The little paragraph above 2 and all of 2 and that's it. No 3.
At the end of the general purpose allocations. Yes.
No, down to. Oh, yes, sorry, yes, allocations, yeah, yeah.
I think just to the general
Those
purpose.
2 paras are gone.
Okay.
Purpose allocations, that's it.
Councillors, please. So, Councillor Gregson,
So
the
just
situation is,
Yeah.
if you agree to withdrawal of the amendment, it will go back to the original motion, which was moved by Councillor Edwards and Councillor Walker. Oh, sorry, Councillor Young, sorry. Immediately that motion is put and accepted or whatever, then Councillor McQueenie has the opportunity to move a motion without notice that is effectively that council furnish our federal elected member. Part 2 of her.
That's a foreshadowed motion.
It's not foreshadowed, it is a motion without notice.
Motion of urgency.
Regulation 20 is the regulation.
Thank you, Councillor Young. So, Councillor Gregson, do I have your agreement to withdraw Councillor McQueenie's amendment?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Before I do, no, I haven't done that yet. No, I haven't. Hang on, no, I haven't. I'm just clarifying something. This is very important to me because this really depends on my acceptance. Now, it's gone from and noting, and her motion without notice goes through to disadvantage. Is that correct?
No, to general purpose allocations.
Oh, okay. So it goes from and noting to purpose allocations. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. I'd just like to qualify that.
Whatever you do, Councillor Gregson, it's up to the meeting anyway, so we can outvote you.
All right. Well, you do
so
that.
It's not up to you if you don't want to withdraw your.
So, Councillor Edwards, thank you. Right. So, is the amendment withdrawn with the permission of Councillor McQueenie and Councillor Gregson?
Yes, from me.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Madam, I move that the motion be put.
The original motion be
Yes.
put. Thank you, Councillor Young. I'll put the motion that council adopt the proposed increases.
There was a couple of questions I would like to have asked on the original motion about an hour
On the
ago.
original motion?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Now.
Procedural motion.
Councillor, sorry, you can't because
Well, I didn't
Councillor
have
Young
a
has
right to
actually...
finish debate
You
or
didn't
anything.
have a chance. I stopped.
Councillor Young has actually said to put the motion, so that's what I will do.
So I can't ask any of the questions I
Put
wanted
the
to ask.
motion, all those in favour?
Jesus.
Those against? Motion's carried unanimously.
Spent
Thank
half
you,
an hour
Councillor
going in
McQueenie. I
circles.
will accept your notice without, your motion without notice. Thank
Would you
you.
like me to read it?
Yes, please.
Yes, okay. I move.
It's turned off. It must be.
Phone turned off.
Yeah, it must be my iPad.
sorry.
maybe. Yeah.
So, councillor
Zero.
McCready,
Do you want me to go?
your motion without notice, thank you.
I move, and noting the need for council to secure an improved recurrent local government funding for our community, one, that council furnish our federal elected member, the Honourable Rebecca White, with an urgent written request for her to personally present and discuss the following request with her ministerial colleague, Treasurer Jim Chalmers. And then in quotation marks, so this is the request she's presenting to the Federal Treasurer. That the Federal Treasurer, A, request the Commonwealth Grants Commission review and report on Glamorgan Spring Bay Council's general purpose allocation outcome against the legislated primary allocation principle, horizontal fiscal equalisation. B, requests that the Commonwealth Grant Commission actions the review and provides its report in time for the outcome to be considered ahead of the 26-27 general purpose allocations.
Thank you, councillor McQueenie. I've accepted that motion under Regulation 20 of the meeting procedures. Is there a seconder? A seconder? Councillor Churchill? Thank you. Thank you. Councillor McQueenie, I don't think there's a requirement for any further discussion on the matter.
I'm happy to sum up.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion required on this motion, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you, Madam Mayor,
Thank
for
you.
running it very well.
Thank you, councillor Young. I appreciate that. Agenda item 8.2 is the Audit Panel Committee member. We have a vacancy for a council member. There is a recommendation on page 34. Councillor Walker?
I'll move to discuss.
Thank you. Seconder to discuss? Councillor Simons, Deputy Mayor Simons. The motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion's carried. Councillor Walker, you wish to discuss? This need, as noted, I'm sorry, just let me think. I will call for nominations during this discussion period, so.
I think that's basically
That's basically it?
what we should need to do.
Okay.
Is for nominations.
Yep. So they're self-nominating to, as the council representative on the audit panel, bearing in mind that Councillor Churchill is already a councillor representative on there.
Madam Mayor, can I move that someone be appointed?
Yeah, well, no.
After we find out who's self-nominating.
I'm not going to nominate myself. I'm too important. I'd like to move that someone else.
Are you going to call for nominations?
Just a moment, councillor. So I'm seeking self-nominations for the position, the vacant councillor position on the audit panel.
Do you want hands up?
Yes. Councillor McQueenie, you're not nominating?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Any other nominations for the audit panel position?
I'd like to nominate someone.
No, it's a self-nomination process, Councillor Young, and then the recommendation is that council appoint whoever is chosen if we need to have a ballot. So we currently have...
Madam Mayor, at the convent school that my wife went to, she was told that self-nomination is no praise at all. I'd like to nominate someone.
I'm not sure it's a prize.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Edwards because I know that he gets on very well with Councillor Churchill. We need balance in this audit panel.
Even though I appreciate Councillor Churchill's contribution to the table, I would happily decline that.
Happily?
Yes, thank you.
Chicken.
I'd rather pull my eyes out than sit in that.
If there are no other self-nominations, Councillor Walker.
No, I'm not nominating, I'm just going to move the motion.
Yeah, move it.
I'm going to move the motion now. So we've had this. So I'll move that council appoints Councillor Carol McQueenie
to the audit panel.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Churchill. Sorry?
For the remainder of this
term. Council term. I note that the CEO did take some advice on this, and it has to be noted in here the appointment is for a minimum of 1 year and a maximum of 4 years. But because this is the councillor representative, it will be dependent on re-election in October.
Yep.
As I see it.
Madam Mayor, does that mean if Councillor Queenie doesn't get re-elected in October, her appointment now, if passed, is invalid and everything back?
It will be
No.
So I'll put the motion. Can you get a seconder, please?
Councillor Walker has moved that council appoint Councillor McQueenie
I'll
as
second it.
to the audit panel. The Deputy Mayor has already done that, Councillor Young. I'm sorry. There's no discussion. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 8.3, there is a recommendation on page 36. It is the Local Government Amendment Electoral Reform Bill 2025.
I'll move that council note the attached submission and approve the submission being submitted.
Thank you. Seconder? Excuse me. Seconder, Councillor Gregson, was that a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you wish to speak, Deputy Mayor?
No.
Thank you. Any questions? Any speaker for the motion? Speaker against the motion? Councillor Gregson? No?
No.
Thank you. No speakers? Nothing? Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 8.4, there is a recommendation on page 43. This is the review of the Southern Tasmanian Regional Land Strategy, known as Stralis, and the council's submission. Councillor McQueenie?
Excuse me, sorry, I shouldn't have put my hand up with it. I move that
43, Councillor.
a submission be made on the draft Southern Tasmanian Regional Land Use Strategy, reflecting the discussion in this report and the detailed commentary provided in Annexure 1.
Thank you. Seconded, Deputy Mayor. Councillor McQueenie, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No. The only thing I wanted to really say, because I'll support it, is that the parts of this paper that talk to what needs to happen in the next one, it'd be nice to always keep in mind that when we're thinking about related strategies and papers as we proceed, that what we've been advocating for and trying to continue to advocate it at every opportunity. So that's all.
Speaker against the motion? Speaker for? Nothing further? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 8.5 is the draft 20-year preventative health strategy. There is a recommendation on page 45. Councillor McQueenie.
That the comments and feedback as per attached are noted and approval is given to submit the attached material to LGAT for consideration by LGAT in terms of the submission requested by the Minister.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Gregson, thank you. Councillor McQueenie, do you wish to comment?
Only to say these are very big, bold words, and having had a lot to do with preventative and public health for decades, they generally don't get funded because hospitals always require the money. So ambitious and motherhood, and I would love to be surprised.
Thank you. Any other comments? Speaker for or against? Nothing further? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 8.6 is the Integrity Commission Local Government Gifts and Donations Consultation Paper. There is a recommendation on page 47. Deputy Mayor.
I'll move that the comments and feedback as per noted and approval is given to submit the attached material to LGAT for consideration by LGAT in terms of the submission requested by the Integrity Commission.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Walker. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak to it?
No.
No. Councillor Walker? No. Speaker for or against? No. Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Motion is carried. Thank you. 8.7 is the emergency management roles. There is again a recommendation on page 49. There's a statutory requirement of council. Councillor Edwards.
I move that council makes the following nominations to be forwarded to the Minister for appointment in accordance with the Emergency Management Act of 2006. Municipal Coordinator, Manager Works and Infrastructure, Darren Smith. Deputy Municipal Coordinator, Southern Lead, Hayden Arnold.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Walker. Councillor Edwards, do you wish to speak to it? You. For or against? Councillor McQueenie?
Can I just ask, in the front it talks about 4 roles?
Yes, as I understand it, the coordinators are, not the coordinators. The other 2 roles are actually appointed by council within the offices, yes.
Yep. That was all. Thank you.
So yes. Is that fine? Any other speakers? Councillor Walker?
Other than to say that I'm sure Darren Smith and Hayden Arnold do a great job.
Thank you. If there's no other speakers for or against, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. 8.8, event support request for the East Coast Harvest Odyssey Festival, better known as ECHO, for 2026. There is a recommendation on page 55. Deputy Mayor?
I'll move that council approve the application for event support from East Coast Arts Events Tasmania. I think that should read for East Coast Arts Events Tasmania Limited for $2,000 towards the East Coast Harvest Odyssey event.
Thank you.
I don't know if I amend or foreshadow. I think I amend. That's why I had my hand up early.
I want a seconder.
As yet.
Sorry. Councillor McQueenie?
I need a seconder for the motion first.
The motion?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
No seconder yet. You can't amend something that doesn't exist.
Right, so there's no seconder for the recommendation, Councillor. Sorry? I didn't call for a seconder. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Edwards, thank you.
Does that make it easier or harder?
Right,
I don't know.
thank you. Okay. Discussion. Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak to it?
Yes, I will. I think it's a great event for Swansea and they do a fantastic job with it. I think our support is on par with the other events we support, and I think that's a good thing to try and do, and I wish them every success.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards, do you wish to speak?
Just concur with Deputy Mayor Simons' comments.
Thank you. Councillor Gregson?
Just like to, going in down charter territory here, but I'd just like to make a foreshadowed motion here, and I'll read it out. The council approve the application for support from East Coast Arts Events Tasmania Limited for $4,000 towards the East Coast Harvest Odyssey event.
It's not foreshadowed. That's going to be, that would be an amendment, I think.
Okay, I'll
Would be an amendment, amended motion.
I'll move an amendment to that
Amendment.
motion. Yes.
That and what is it? $4,000. Right. Thank you. Seconder. Councillor McQueenie, is that? Yep. Councillor McQueenie will second the amendment. So the amendment is that council approve the application for event support from East Coast Arts Event Tasmania Limited for $4,000 towards the East Coast Harvest Odyssey event. Councillor Gregson, do you wish to speak to your amendment?
Yes, I do. With the Echo Festival, it takes in 3 days, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and it really canvasses a lot of events, including the Aboriginal history of the area, the arts aspect, and it also involves music as well, especially on Saturday night. So it's a completely different festival for most on the East Coast, and I think the organiser, Ange Boxall, has put a lot of work into this, and it's been going for, I think, 2019, just pre-COVID, and then it's had a few ups and downs with flooding and it's still managed to survive. So I think Ange has done a really good job, and I think $4,000 would be an equitable amount for this festival over 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor McQueenie, do you wish to speak to the amendment?
Yeah, I would support what Councillor Gregson has said. In past times, at different times, we have provided events significantly more. I can remember there was a Fraser Nay, I'm not sure if it was triathlon or race one, which we gave $4,000 to. So it's consistent with previous examples of where we've decided to provide more on a certain instance for some events. I agree that it's the only thing across our coast that I'm aware of that we support around Indigenous history and culture, and in the context of providing something for a triathlon and the situation that, and I did look up the information we were provided at workshop around Events Tasmania funding, and this Echo has been given $65,000, and for instance Spoke has got $170,000. So there's about a third of what they're getting in that support. So I don't think it's unreasonable. In fact, I think it would be a good idea to honour the volunteer-led 3-day festival.
Any other speakers for or against the amendment? Councillor Walker.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There is just a point. So in the budget implications, we have $50,000 event support for the program. Is that correct? Yes. And we have, to date, $17,955 has been distributed to external events, and consequently there's $27,445 remaining for this event. I can't see why it can't be approved, given the fact that we haven't got too much left of our financial year. We don't spend it all, but we can.
There's no further comments in relation to the amendment. I'll put the amendment. Those in favour? Those against? Who are against the amendment? Councillor Edwards, or for?
Against.
Against the amendment, thank you. The amendment is you're against too, so sorry, that's Councillor Edwards and Councillor Simons were against the amendment. However, it has been carried. It now becomes the substantive motion. That Council approve the application for event support from East Coast Arts Event Tasmania Limited for $4,000 towards the East Coast Harvest Odyssey event. All those in favour? Those against? Councillor Edwards and Councillor Simons are against. Councillor Young, where were you at that? I'm sorry?
I suppose against it, really.
Against?
Yes, because I abstained.
Oh, okay. Did you abstain for the amendment? Did I miss that?
No, you did not.
Thank you. And you're abstaining from the motion?
Yes.
Thank you. The motion is carried though. Thank you. Agenda item 8.9 is a request from the Bicheno Surf Lifesaving Club for the Devil of a Swim. There is a recommendation on page 59. Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I move that Council approve the application for event funding of $2,500 and in-kind assistance to Bicheno Surf Lifesaving Club Inc. for the Devil of a Swim event.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor Churchill, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you.
No. Councillor Gregson, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, yes, to the Mayor. On page 56, event, it's Diamond Island, DIA. It's incorrect spelling there.
I'm sorry?
It's an incorrect spelling here. Under event, page 56, it's DIA, MOND, Diamond Island, instead of DIMOND.
What line is that?
It's, gosh.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's under event, page 56.
Right.
the first paragraph under
Thank you,
event.
councillor
I'm just
Gregson.
telling-
You've made your point, councillor. Thank you. Any other speakers for or against the motion? Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 8.10 is an event support request, the Swansea Local Events Committee, which is being auspiced by Swansea Community and Men's Shed Incorporated. Event funding for their Swansea car, bike and truck show. The recommendation is on page 65. Councillor Walker, thank you.
Thank you. I'll move that council approve the application for event support from Swansea Local Events Committee, auspiced by Swansea Community and Men's Shed, of $2,000 and in-kind assistance towards the Swansea car, bike and truck show.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak to it?
No, thank you.
No. Deputy
Other
Mayor?
than to wish them all the success.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
No.
No. Any speakers for or against? Councillor Churchill?
I just wanted to say that I think this event really is becoming a bit of a signature event for Swansea, and I think they're growing each year, and it seems to be something now for the community that it actually looks forward to each year. We haven't really had a signature event like this, I think, before, not in my time on council.
I think it's important for our community, our communities across the municipal area to see these events and council's support. We have times of much sadness in this area, so it's good to be able to support this. Councillor Gregson.
It's the fourth year, and I think it's at Easter time. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Is this at Easter time? Yes, thank you.
Time of
So it's a very
yes.
good time to have it, because you've got a lot of people running around, and it's an ideal opportunity. So the best of luck to the
Thank you.
event.
No other speakers for or against? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Item 8.11 is again event support request for the Spoke Motorcycle Festival. There is a recommendation on page 70. Thank you. Councillor Edwards.
That council approve the application for event support from Swansea Motorcycle Association Limited, trading as Spoke Motorcycle Event, for $2,000 towards the event.
Thank you, seconder. Deputy Mayor, thank you. Councillor Edwards, do you wish to speak to it?
I'll reserve my right at the moment.
Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak to it?
Just to say that it's becoming a pretty well-known event around Tasmania and across Australia actually now. I like the way it attracts a different tourism participant to our area that we probably don't usually get, so I think that's helpful to us. So yeah, I'm happy to support this event.
Thank you. Any other speakers for or against? Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I'm still making my mind up, but I had a long discussion with Mr Bennett about this matter and the question of the council finances. Whether you're a hot rod or motorcycle enthusiast or not, it's a question whether council and the municipality will get a benefit out of it. And after discussion with Mr Bennett, I've come to the conclusion that even though the state government's going to spend $170,000 subsidising it, there will be some benefit for our $2,000 subsidy, small though it is. So I've decided to support.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, my attitude to this event has been expressed in the last couple of years, and nothing really has changed. I guess there's a couple of things I wanted to talk about. In the key foundations, we've got our community. I would like to have also seen our environment as one of our 4 pillars included in that document. This event does cause disturbance to a potential feeding, breeding ground for bird species. Tearing up the sand with motorbikes is not the sort of message that I think we should be getting out there to community, that this is okay. 2 years ago, Dr. Eric Waller wrote a report against this event, and I believe that his attitude would not have changed. Parks and Wildlife Service refused to have it run on their ground 2 years ago, and I don't believe that that will have changed either. The potential for environmental damage, the demonstration of something here that I feel is, I think there's some doubt about social licence for this sort of event, but, and I think these things should be taken into consideration. It's talked about in the application, the benefits to council, and you know that sponsors are going to put council's logo up on their website. They've never done that yet, and they have 20-something other sponsors on that website. Council's never been included on there, despite having put $2,000 into it for each of the past 2 years. I question the late application for this a few days before the event is to occur. I don't think that that's something that should be accepted by us as a council. I think that's disrespectful of us and our processes. The grant from Events Tasmania for $170,000 I would have thought would have been adequate, and I don't see that our $2,000 is going to make a significant difference to that event, where we have other small community groups that we're always trying to help and get money to, and we've on occasions not come up to the mark on that, but yet we're prepared to put $2,000 of ratepayer money behind $170,000 of taxpayer money to see this event occur. The Environment Action Plan that came along with the application for this there's a name of a person in there as the expert. I know nothing about the qualifications of that person. It's not in the documentation, and I can't find it anywhere on any website anywhere. So I question the validity of that, and in normal reporting I would have expected to have seen that if this person was qualified to write that report. Anyone could write that report. The ABN for this event is registered in Launceston. I don't believe, having done a very small amount of research, that there are many motorcyclists in the Swansea area, and this event goes under the name of Swansea Motorcycle Association. Anyone that I know of in Swansea who has motorbikes does not know of this association, and it would appear that there's no one locally supporting it who actually is a motorcyclist. Now, that could easily be wrong. There could well be people that I don't know, but this, puts some sort of doubt over it for me too. I think that's enough. I think you get my feelings on it. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Councillor Gregson.
Application does worry me, particularly the beach, involvement of the beach. I think it's 100 metres on the beach. The beach is very, very dear to me. I've lived near the beach all my life, basically, and various parts of the state and interstate. And it does refer to the pristine Mayfield estate. I'd like to question that, because Mayfield has been farmed over many generations, and pristine means untouched, so that can be misleading. And the strong focus on environmental care. As Councillor Churchill says, the Environmental Action Plan, I couldn't find any qualifications whatsoever, so I really have to question that action plan as well. state government evidently are giving 175 or 170,000 towards the event. $2,000 is not going to prevent anyone coming or going, but I'd really like for this festival to be based on Mayfield, but without the beach. As I said previously, I think people know my view on that, and it's very dear to me. So I'd just like to take that into consideration when I'm voting. Thank you.
Councillor McQueenie.
Yeah, I pretty much support what both Councillor Gregson and Councillor Churchill have said. I don't think that the broader public, and this isn't a criticism, it's just awareness, understands that shorebirds feed from the water. It's not that someone flies off and brings back food to the nests, and that nests being abandoned, in certain weather can mean that eggs and chicks, etc., perish within really short time frames. And I don't think that we can hold one of our pillars as environment. I mean, if they're private property, they can do what they want, if you like, but I don't think that we should be funding something that has known environmental significant considerations from those who are in that area, as in, like, the area of shorebird stuff. And I mean, in terms of contributions, they are doing terribly, terribly well out of the Events Tasmania thing. I think it's the best, in fact, within our region. So whilst I wouldn't have a problem with in-kind support, I don't think we should be contributing the money.
Councillor Edwards, you moved the motion, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Can I see if anybody else... Sorry, I didn't mean to point at you. Could I see if there's any other speakers for this and then get you to maybe close debate on it? The Deputy Mayor seconded, so do you anything further? Mr Shaw, you want to comment?
Just one comment. I think it's a really interesting conversation, and I think what it raises is about questions over process, so that, and its policy and position around those things. What I would just want to put on the table is, like it or not, natural values of conservation significance, be they listed flora species, fauna species, threatened ecological communities, they are very common. Threatened species, flora and fauna and vegetation communities are very common. What we've got here is a situation where the presence and impacts on threatened species are more obvious because of the very nature of the species. I can guarantee you if I did a flora and fauna survey of the paddock, I'd find listed species, potentially some of national environmental significance. So when we raise these concerns, we do need to be quite conscious that we apply a policy or a position and a decision-making framework in a consistent manner. In that we can't just apply additional rigour to this because the species are more obvious, okay? If we want to apply logic and rigour, we apply a consistent framework to all events. So I think what we've got here is maybe just a bit of a gap in our decision-making framework, what I see as an opportunity for improvement, and I would like to take that on board. And I think we need to, with Bernadette and the team, we need to better understand what questions we should be asking and what information we should be requesting to ensure that a balanced, transparent and accountable and rigorous decision is made, taking into account environmental heritage matters and all other land use planning matters.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards, just before you close debate on this, Councillor Churchill, I'd just like to take up your point about the Swansea motorcyclists in the Swansea area. And I note that the application for this funding, it says 24% of attendees are from the Glamorgan Spring Bay municipality, so it's our whole area. And I do know that there are a number of motorbike owners in the Orford area. I hear them regularly. And I think the interesting thing around this for me is that this event does bring us international and Australian guests from all over, and an average of 14.5 nights into the municipal area or into Tasmania. So I'm guessing that's why the level of funding was offered by the state government. Councillor Walker, did you have something you wanted to add, or
You know, I hear what everyone's saying about the environment and things like that, but I feel assured that the Spoke people are doing their due diligence, whether, you know, we agree with it or not. And, you know, we talk about, we just passed a motion for $4,000 for the East Coast Odyssey, and that brings a lot of people into the community, as does this, which will benefit the community. And I take on board Acting CEO's comments, and, you know, sort of it's a bit late now, so to speak, but, you know, that's all my comment is.
Councillor Edwards, would you like to close debate before I put the motion?
I'd love to. There's over 1,000 people go to this event. As you said, 24% out of GSBC, so there's 240 locals go. There's at least 60 from interstate and 3 from overseas. The $170,000 they received was due mainly out of the ferry fund, when the ferry has been stopped, the new ferry fund. So that's where the bulk of their money came from. The Redbanks received considerably more funding for their festival held New Year than this has received. They've purchased their own bins, so they're not harassing council for those. They are looking for some assistance in toilet. They've had to get it, obviously, as they should, wheelchair accessible toilets, which are expensive to hire. That's where they're looking to put the money. They're also on signage, because the signage they're doing is incredible. The fencing off of the dunes, the fencing off of deliberate walkway paths through the dunes. They use 100 odd metres, and not even 100 metres, of privately owned beach. If the Parks and Wildlife want to close their beaches, good luck to them, that's fantastic. But when we start telling a private individual what he can do on his beach, because we're a bit worried about 100 yards of it, where does it stop?
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against?
Oh, sorry, no.
Those against? I'm looking for against at this stage. Councillor Gregson, Councillor McQueenie and Councillor Church are against. The motion is carried. Thank you. Agenda item 9 is councillors' motions with notice. Councillor Young, this is you wish to put a motion.
Yes, Madam. The motion is that council allowances and reimbursement policy be forthwith amended to include a regular monthly reimbursement payment to each councillor of $140 to cover the use of all telephone rental, Microsoft Zoom, FaceTime and like services, and the use of the internet regulatory and statutory access and generally like expenses.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Walker, thank you.
I move this motion partly because I'm affected. I live where you can't get ordinary internet access. You can't get ordinary telephone properly. I've just bought a phone from my wife because you can't get mobile phone access with certainty because you're at the end of a footprint of the mobile phone tower. And all those sorts of things cost a hell of a lot of money. And if you are in an area, say, off the normal landline connection that works, I am, but if you want to join up new, it's going to cost $140 a month minimum. Then you pay for your telephone, and you pay for your equipment, and you pay for your phone calls. I'm not saying that we ought to do what the Derwent Valley Council did, not Derwent, Meander Valley Council did, and grant themselves a reimbursement of $3,500 a year. This amount will be $1,680, and it still won't cover phone calls, phone purchases, and ink and printers. it's necessary for councillors to do their job. The fees have gone up dramatically since the expenses policy was passed some years ago. There's no specific amount in the policy set forth. I have raised the matter a number of times with not only our current CEO, but prior CEOs to have the matter brought before council. So in the end, I thought we ought not to be out of pocket to do the basic things that are necessary to be a councillor. So that's why the motion is moved.
Councillor McQueenie, do you wish to speak to that?
I think that the costs that Councillor Young is talking about are fundamentally in this day and age no different than travel costs. We wouldn't expect the Deputy Mayor coming from Bicheno to not be able to claim distance that is and that sort of service versus me, and I think it's a reasonable request. I don't know that we all need that, but where there's a demonstrable increased cost for people around those sorts of things, I think we should accommodate it.
Councillor Churchill?
Yeah, I just wanted to make comments along similar lines to Councillor McQueenie. Yeah, I think, I mean, it's debatable what it costs each one of us, but I think when I first came on council, I think I'm going back into my dark memory now, but I think we were allowed to put in requests for allowances, regardless of what they were, as long as they pertain to our work and our genuine costs for council.
Councillor Churchill, can I just interrupt you there and remind you that in the early days, it was an annual fee, an annual amount that we could claim for telephone and paper and the like, I think. And it was defined, the amount was defined, it was X dollars for this and X dollars for that, and we could claim it at the end of each financial year, I think, maybe. So, yes, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. But I totally agree that each one of us is going to have different costs for different reasons. Now, whether or not this motion goes through, I still think there should be allowances for special cases like Councillor Young, who's situated in a place where other costs might come into it, just as Councillor McQueenie's pointed out about the Deputy Mayor having to travel so much further. I think all those costs should be well and truly covered. I don't think anyone's going to claim that councillors are overpaid for the work they do, but I just think a little bit more flexibility around whatever you arrive at, or perhaps it does exist and we don't do it too. I mean, we might already have that flexibility to put that in. I only ever put in for travelling, so I don't really know. But
I don't recall what's in the policy, to be perfectly honest, Councillor Churchill. I know we can claim travelling if, you know, in circumstances and it's over a certain number of kilometres. You know, like for example, Councillor Gregson and probably you couldn't claim to go to a meeting in Swansea because it's and it's the same as when, you know, before I was mayor and used to travel from Orford to here. Obviously, I never claimed that because it was too small a distance. But going to Councillor Young's motion, I think there is merit in it on a individual basis. I'm just concerned about the wording "be forthwith amended," and I think the policy needs to be reviewed to include all of this. So, Councillor Walker, do you have a comment, or Councillor Edwards? No. Yes. No. Councillor Edwards and Councillor Gregson. Thank you.
Like Councillor Young, I have no choice but to have Starlink.
Yes.
$140 a month, whether you want to pay it or not.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other services we don't receive from council, which you cop on the chin. I've never put a bill in for any travel, and I go to Coles Bay quite regularly for anything, except for once at a thing I had to go to, which I didn't want to go to, so I thought, well, I'll charge. So there's been one ever. So, you know, I'm not somebody who wants to skin the council. I'm quite happy to stand on my own 2 feet, but I fully agree with Councillor Young. He has, you know, he's got nothing. I've got nothing at my place. So it needs to be, and the number of phone calls I get, my kids say to me, does that phone ever stop bloody ringing? And I never charge for any of that, and I never will. But I think this is different.
I think as Councillor Churchill identified, we all have different circumstances. So,
yeah.
Councillor Gregson.
Yes, no, I sympathise with Councillor Young's situation, and it really is a case-by-case basis. You really can't have a uniform allowance for each and every individual councillors. I personally wouldn't be for it, for $140 per month, but I can see Councillor Young's situation, and I have great concern for him. So there may be a way of trying to delineate Councillor Young's situation to other councillors as well. So,
what about me?
Mr. Bonner, do you have a comment? Would you like to join us? And I probably will then defer to Mr. Bennett, so he may have a comment around the policy.
Just in relation, we do have a policy for council expenditure allowances and expenditures reimbursement, and currently it allows $50 per month for costs that incur directly.
Yes.
Phone, internet access. So it may be, putting words in councillor's mouth, that what you're asking for is a review of the current policy.
Yep.
To update the monthly allowance, or that can be claimed rather than a.
Yes.
That's all I wanted
Councillor Churchill, if I recall correctly, you were the one who initiated the extra payment, the $50, as I recall. Is that?
Well, I don't think it was quite me, but I think it was floated by the...
Oh, absolutely, I agree, but I think you were the one that brought it to council initially.
Yeah, I can't remember, but I think that was more about administration too.
I think
just to make it easier for administration purposes, because we were not quite consistent with amounts that were being requested of council. So I think for uniformity and ease for administration, I think that's what that was all about.
That's how that came about, that extra $50. Mr. Bennett, do you wish to make any comment around this? And I'm just going to then ask Councillor Young something. I'm sorry, I keep pointing at people. I'm sorry. Mr. Bennett.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I support the previous director. I think we should have a workshop around the policy. I don't think it should be just highlighted for this. I think we should look through the whole facilities and expenses policy. Plus, you also need to be considerate of the fact you're putting more money into the budget. Do you want to do it now? You're going to have to do a revision, or would you want to wait until the new budget process comes in? That gives us a chance to look at it, update the policy, take in all the commentary, and then actually get the policy right before we get to the new budget. That's my commentary.
Thank you. So, Councillor Young, would you like to close debate on this?
Well, I would, Madam Mayor.
Can I say, before you do that, can I say I support the motion, except for the bit that says forthwith amended, because I think, as the officers have identified, it needs to be done on a, if you like, a case-by-case process, I think. So, if you would accept the fact that this might not happen forthwith.
Madam Mayor, if I had to put in a justified claim, I'd have to put in each telephone call, because I get charged on the telephone calls. I'd have to put in the cost of the mobile phone. I'd have to put in the cost of the internet. And if in fact a whole lot of stuff comes down and 300 documents for today's meeting, that's got to come through. It uses your data. The data I choose is the minimum amount of data, and occasionally I've run out of data. I'm not a great watcher of Netflix movies. I think I might have watched 3 in my life. Not because I don't like watching movies, but you've got to pay for it to come down, and I haven't done it. All you have to do is run out of data and you're in trouble. A number of councillors get all their documentation delivered to them by a courier, because I've been here when the courier comes in, picks up the documentation to deliver. but it's a bit like the rubbish tip. People, they don't come down to Neil Edwards Way, they don't come down to Robert Young's Way, and you've got to pay for it yourself.
Councillor Young, please don't introduce extra information into this.
Oh, look, I'm sorry, I should have said Councillor Edwards.
That's fine.
And I don't want to have to put a justified claim in. I will if necessary, but by the time we have a meeting about this, and it's 6 or 9 months ago, I first asked this to be reviewed. This policy was adopted on the 28th of May, minute number 97 of 24, and it was 2024. There's been a very large increase in the phone cost, the mobile phone, the landline, and when a number of general managers used to ring me up, not many do these days because I've dropped down in importance, I think. But the fact of the matter is, many a time they would drop out and they couldn't get through without trying another number. And sometimes you couldn't get through at all. That's why I want it in. That's why I want it in now, not next year when I won't be here.
So, Councillor Young, I take your point, but the question is, for this to go into our policy, it really needs the policy to be reviewed. So your motion says forthwith amended, and I don't think we can actually do that.
Well, I can tell you can.
Yeah, you can.
Because you've just had the argument in front of Code of Conduct with 3 panel members, one being a lawyer.
Councillor Young, please
and they acknowledged that a policy can be amended at any time by a council motion. There's no doubt about it. Absolutely no. Any call to any reasonable lawyer or our director of LEGAT, he'll confirm it can be done just by a motion.
Councillor Young, the question I have around this is that $140, this says each councillor $140, and I can tell you unequivocally I don't need $140 because of what my internet costs me at home, and my internet's a family one, so I use the internet for personal things as well as for council things, so Zoom meetings and the like, so it's not only for council. Same as my telephone rental, I use my personal phone. So I'm a little bit concerned about this for each councillor. So just a moment, Councillor McQueenie. I recognise Councillor Edwards had his hand up first. Councillor Edwards.
Can I just say, yeah, with Starlink, it's $140 a month, and you can sit on Netflix all day if you want to, or you can download one council document. So it's
right.
It is what it is.
Councillor McQueenie.
I'm just trusting that we all, don't want to fleece council, if you like. Can't we just say, if requested, so we can immediately make available the 140 to those who experience the Starlink or whatever, and the rest of us who are comfortable can just continue on 50? Because I don't think there's going to be that many people, but there's legitimate reasons why we should be already doing this for those who need it.
Mr Bennett, I'm looking at you for some guidance here around the policy, my concern is if this motion is moved and if this motion is carried as it's written, it will effectively give every councillor at this table $140 per month from today, effectively.
Correct.
And as Councillor McQueenie has made the point, it may be that the rest of us don't need that $140. It should be on a one-for-one. So that's my only concern, Councillor Young, is that the motion is moved in the fact if the motion is passed or carried, then it effectively gives us all $140. Now, we now currently receive $50 extra a month for...
Not extra, towards.
Yes, well, $50 towards bits and pieces. So does that mean that disappears and it becomes $140?
Yeah, it would do.
Yes.
And, but I haven't asked, for instance, that printing cost be paid. My little cartridge, when I buy it, it used to cost $90, now it costs $139. And that's in the last 2 years. I do get paper from here, but if the words were put in there, if claimed, then you get arguments about some people claim, some don't, and it's quite true. I do claim a reasonable amount for mileage, but not everything. But the prices have gone up, and some people are still in business. I've been retired for more than a dozen years, and I'm not flush with funds. Some people need it, some people don't. That's why I move the motion.
Right,
if you don't accept the motion, Madam Mayor, be it as it may.
I've accepted the motion. Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Councillor Young. Interesting proposition. Just one basic comment that of the hidden costs potentially, in that if we want to start tailoring what each councillor is entitled to or can be afforded, I can assure you that the administrative costs of considering your unique scenario versus the unique scenario of each councillor on a month-by-month basis will dwarf instantly the $140 a month.
Drive you nuts. And me too.
And an allowance, an allowance is a bit. It's a blunt tool.
It is.
It's everybody gets this. It's simple. It's consistent, and you apply it. Some people win. Some people win better than others. But it's a simple, cost-effective administrative tool. So, whilst I do like the idea of tailoring to the individual, it will cost the council significantly more to go down that approach.
I come back to the point that if this motion is carried in its current format, it instantly makes a payment of $140 to every councillor.
Correct.
And not every councillor, if I'm hearing everybody, is seeking an increase in that.
They can give it back.
Mr. Bennett, thank you.
Can I just make a couple of comments through the Mayor? Wouldn't it be better, rather than doing policy on the fly, to request for the GM to bring the policy to the next workshop, which is only a couple of weeks away? We can actually go through this issue and any other issues through the policy. The other issue I've got as the finance person, I need to put it on the table. Where's the $13,440 coming from? If it hasn't been allocated in a budget, you need to really allocate money whenever you're trying to put stuff.
That's a fair comment. But I asked a specific question about another motion of you this morning about the question of council finances. I'm aware of the fact and the council's in a squeeze, and so's Councillor McQueenie. She's very well aware of it. That's why she wants to do the very best she can to squeeze the politicians, and good luck. It will cause some difficulty. I won't be here after October. I'll be too old to come back to this place. And if you won't pass it, we won't pass it. I'll put up with it. There's not much else I can do.
Thank you. Councillor Young, I'm going to suggest that we put the motion, but that a motion without notice could be moved that reflect that the councillor allowance and reimbursement policy be reviewed as a matter of urgency to reflect the needs of individual councillors.
That's a good idea.
Madam Mayor, that raises the very problem of administration costs that the CEO has just been talked of.
So I'm thinking I'll put this motion, I'll put your motion. If it's carried, well and good. If it isn't, then there is an opportunity for a councillor to move what I've said, the notice, a motion without notice. So I will put the motion, Councillor Young's motion, that councillor allowances and reimbursement policy be forthwith amended, etc. All those in favour?
And then we can still review it.
Everyone except
Oh, okay. Are we taking, we're going to say that we're going to review it, we're going to do a notice?
No, that was half the motion.
Councillors, can I just clarify here? If you carry, if Councillor Young's motion is carried, it effectively ties council into doing $140 a month from now.
Yeah, that's
Until it's
correct.
reviewed.
Pardon?
Until it's reviewed.
That's correct. No.
Sorry?
It doesn't say
Until it's, we can review it.
No.
Have a look at the motion.
We can review it any time you like. But it'll be another motion.
Yeah.
Okay. So
it was passed.
It's passed. 5 were for it.
yeah.
And we can review it when we want it.
McQueenie.
Just a moment, councillors. So, Councillor Young's motion is that the council allowances and reimbursement policy be forthwith amended to include a regular monthly reimbursement payment to each councillor of $140 to cover the use of all telephone rental, Microsoft Zoom, FaceTime and like services, the use of the internet regulatory and statutory access, and generally like expenses.
Correct.
Now, if that's carried, it becomes what will happen.
Yeah, we know it was carried.
It was carried, Madam Mayor. You moved the motion and 5 voted for it.
Yeah.
Just a moment, councillor.
So,
Sorry, we're going to go back to.
Have the motion again.
We've done it.
Done it.
I think there was,
Sorry, I didn't call it.
You did.
votes taken.
You did.
Well,
And we had
you
to vote.
voted for it.
5-3.
I didn't call it against.
McQueenie,
Okay.
Councillor Edwards.
so
Sorry, councillor Young, please.
Please, Madam Mayor.
It's 5-3. Is that what we're saying?
I thought I was the old demented one.
Councillor Young, please.
Through you, Mayor. Isabel has something.
No, it's okay. It's all right. I didn't call who was against it. Is what we're saying.
Yeah, correct.
So it was 5-3. It was passed. Okay. Thank
I
you.
was
So those against
You
were
didn't vote, I saw.
Councillor Young. Thank you.
Don't make things up, Madam Mayor. I'm cross.
Thank you. Councillor Walker. No.
no, I'm against.
Yes, you haven't called for the vote.
Can we please go back to this and get it right? I'm putting Councillor Young's motion. All those in favour? Councillor Churchill, Deputy Mayor, Councillor Young, Councillor Edwards, Councillor McQueenie. Those against? Councillor Gregson, Councillor Walker, Mayor Arnold. Thank you.
Carried.
Sorry?
Carried.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I apologise for my crossness. When
Right.
it comes something personal to me,
Makes it very difficult to run a meeting, councillor, from time to time.
difficult to be dispassionate.
So, we'll move on.
Madam Mayor, excuse me for a few minutes.
Agenda item 11 is agenda item 10 is petitions. There are no new petitions. Agenda item 11 is councillor question time. The responses in the agenda to questions that were taken on notice at the last council meeting.
Just through the Mayor.
Sorry, councillor Gregson.
Could you tell me where 17-acre bridge is, please?
I'm sorry?
Could you tell me where 17-acre bridge is, please? Whereabouts?
I'm sorry, councillor, what exactly are you talking about?
The questions on notice.
Yes.
Agenda item 5, Councillor Edwards asked a question with regard to 17-acre bridge. I was just wondering where that is.
Langton Road. Langton Road.
Langton Road.
Thank you.
Yes. Right, so councillor McQueenie.
Have we got a motion happening around this? Because some of them aren't quite.
I'm sorry?
Have we got some sort of motion or discussion around the question time? Because I think some of my questions aren't, well, they're not answering what I asked, but they're not reflecting what I asked.
I think if you have a problem with the answers, ask the questions again in questions without notice. Thank you. Right, can you move on?
I think.
Agenda item 11.2 is there. Sorry.
11.1. Questions without notice.
They're all numbered 11.1.
Yeah.
That big my.
We haven't got statements either.
Yes, so 11.2 is questions with notice. There are nil questions. 11.3 is questions without notice. Councillor Walker, then Councillor Edwards, then Councillor McQueenie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a question through you to our acting general manager, or CEO, sorry. I don't know what the rivulet name is.
The what?
The rivulet name.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that leads to Duck Park in Swansea.
Oh, yes.
And the reeds that are growing within, it's just, I've noticed of late that it's really come back quite thick, and I think they're going to pose an absolute risk to the community of Swansea when, not if, but when we get that rain event. Because there's nowhere for it to go, because that's right up hard underneath the little bridge thing that's there. And the houses on the right, if you're coming, houses on the left coming into Swansea, will be severely impacted. And I'm not sure, I don't know whose responsibility is to get those reeds and that sort of stuff under control. And I know that it's a question without notice, and I think it just needs to be looked at.
Reviewed, yes. Yeah, it is. It's always been a difficulty there with the reeds and that in there. And
but they've grown so much.
You're right. So we'll take that as a question without notice, Councillor, and perhaps the officers, when they've reviewed it, could get back to you.
Thank you. That's all I ask.
Earlier than putting it in there. Right. Councillor Gregson.
Right. At November 2025, Daniel Willsmore was going to give Council a report on his open spaces report. Has that come to Council? And I can't remember him delivering it to Council at all. And whatever happened to that, please? Because it's an interesting concept of integrating paths and open spaces.
Yes. So, Councillor, what your question is, where is the report?
Yes,
thank
please.
you. Mr. Shaw or Mr. Bonner, I don't mind.
Happy to take that one on. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for the question, Councillor Gregson. So my understanding is, yes, we did engage a person with joined Council to undertake the development of the open space strategy. Yes, it's a critical strategy, absolutely, for all local government municipalities. That person left the Council last year prior to my joining Council, and effectively the project ceased at that point. What we have been doing in recent times is we've been liaising with a new consultant to, I guess, basically have a look at the cost to pick that project up and kick it back into gear.
Just through the Mayor, Mr. Willsmore's contract ended in November 2025.
Noted.
And also, my second question is, will Council seek legal opinion report on the public access to a cemetery on Sherburn Road and beyond? Basically, the clarification of granting public access to a cemetery that's on Sherburn Road. Could Council seek a legal opinion or a report on that matter, please?
Sure.
Through you, Madam Mayor, thank you, Councillor Gregson. So this question was raised at the last Council meeting, and the advice really around that is that it's not a Council road, it's not under Council maintenance, so we have no administrative rights or jurisdiction to it, and I wouldn't, happy to take further advice on this, but I wouldn't consider it a priority for Council to take on maintenance responsibilities and assume access to the cemetery in question. Happy to provide you with a formal response around that, but I guess it would be a question of priorities and benefit.
Yes, just that everyone that has got a historical nature of that area always say that that's public access over a very long period of time.
And that's been debated for a very long time.
That's why I want legal access.
And no, there's been legal opinions sought on this multiple times. and it's not a council road. It's not maintained by council. Therefore, there's no public access. It's end of story.
Right. Could you provide that legal opinion,
Councillor-
and that's been already gained by council, please?
Councillor Gregson, this is not a debate session,
No,
this
just
is only a questions.
Yes, it's a question.
But I can add to that, I'd like to just add to that, Mr Shaw, many years ago, unfortunately I tend to remember stuff like this, there was a development application for the facility that's there on Sherburn Road now. If I remember correctly, one of the conditions was that the owners of that facility had to provide permission to access the cemetery for people who were researching their family history. Now, I think that's changed in that the owners of that particular property have removed that possibility. I think the condition is still in the DA, so that's where we probably need to get some advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you. Councillor McQueenie, then Councillor Edwards. Sorry.
And I'm happy to provide this afterwards, but on the councillor's question time, so I'm talking 11.1.
Sorry?
11.1.
Right.
Agenda item 7.1, it wasn't understood, the question, so I'm happy to not do that now. The 7.3 isn't, again, correct. I was saying that the committee are of the understanding that they'll hear back, not that saying it has to go back, but just that we need to decide if we're going to steam ahead without the courtesy of telling them that it's not coming back. The 8.2, whilst we don't necessarily have a policy that talks to, for instance, land sold in Tribunna, will come back to, open space land or whatever, or property owned, come back to the Tribunna community. That has been a principle that I have heard since I started, that every GM has said the community expects, and so they have heard in the last number of months that that's not so, and we do need to decide what it is and make it clear what our position is. Because we haven't had a discussion about changing that approach, and that's what I certainly have been out saying for 3 years. That's how it roughly works, and that was a way of managing the expectations of selling off open land.
Look, Mr Shaw or Mr Bonner, because I think we did have a conversation at one point around public open space contributions should be spent in the same area.
Happy to take this first, and additional comment can be provided by Mr Bonner. So this line of questioning, remember, came out of the constituent John Heck's inquiries around Howes Hill. And so there's two key sources of revenue that can be generated by council in this respect, and one becomes from the sale of council-owned assets, and the other is public open space contributions, the result of development. So those are the two key sources, and they're different, and they probably need to be treated differently in a policy sense. I did consult with Mr Bonner, and that's a factual statement, what we have here. So if there's been commitments made by previous GMs and CEOs, so be it. But as it stands, this is the fact, and this is the position. Notwithstanding the fact, council is in probably a really good position at the moment that we have a full executive. We now have the best capacity that we have had for a long time, and some really competent people. What that provides for council is now the opportunity for us to identify all the gaps in the policy framework that we have, the ones that are need for priorities for review, and we'll be putting those to council and really trying to knock those off. So I think what we've identified here is that community's perception or understanding differs from our policy base. Now that's a problem, but it's also an easy one to rectify. So I'm happy to take it on board.
Yeah, and if I just make the point that while there are policies, it's a bit like the Westminster system. Things are laws or they work by convention, and the convention has very much been for years that it returns. So, and that's been a sort of operating principle. So the fact that we don't have a policy is sort of just a part of that whole thing. Community has understood repeatedly and been told of how it works. So no policy, but that's what they've been communicated with. The other thing I wanted to say was, and it goes to that action question from earlier where I was asked to provide information, and that hasn't happened, but the question remains about whether we have advised state government around those proposals. So through you, Mayor, I guess, unless you're aware, have we advised Treasury or state government that proposals relating to the use of our infrastructure?
Our advocacy document.
No, proposals to use our infrastructure for expanded service provision that were provided to us as proposals on the 27th. Have we indicated to Treasury or Government that they have yet to be considered by Council and that they should understand they are not endorsed by us until we have considered it?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the answer is no. Happy to take that on board.
I think that represents a significant risk to us taking effectively responsibility for expanded services and also for competing strategic priorities between ourselves and business, and to not address that this close now to 8-10 weeks out from budget being announced. Well, it is. That's the process. Budget will be handed down in November and those funds are being sought now. So if it's announced to community that we are delivering out of our infrastructure additional services, that will fall to us to manage.
Okay, we'll take that on board.
Yep.
Thank you. Councillor Edwards, I believe you have a question.
I have two questions and a quick comment. To a momentous occasion, I've agreed with Councillor McQueenie twice today. Quite amazing.
What's happening?
The first question is, we were talking about Bennett Street and Bicheno being sold.
Yes.
We had the blocks in Tribunna we were selling, and that seems to have fallen off the plate
Off
as
the
well.
radar a bit.
I was just wondering, I don't ask for an answer now, but can we be just continue, because that was a few blocks, wasn't it? We could be. I think when, what was our officer's name who passed away? I think it's Jason. I think it may have fallen off the...
Did you mean Beatty Street?
Pardon?
Did you mean Beatty Street?
Oh, I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, in Bicheno's Beatty, but...
No, Bicheno. This is one in Tribunna.
Yeah.
And I had a ratepayer ask me, and congratulations, I see you've been appointed to the Firearms Consultative Committee. Can't think of a better person to be on it. No one knows more about guns than you. But you were announced as Councillor Arnold. Was that, did you apply as Councillor Arnold or did you apply as Cheryl Arnold?
No, thank you, Councillor Edwards, for your question. No, I can categorically tell Council I did not apply as Councillor Arnold. I applied through my experience in committees at federal and state level for firearm ownership. Unfortunately, I was defined as Councillor Arnold when the announcement was made, because Minister Ellis's media team knew me as Councillor Arnold, and I have asked Minister Edwards to make the changes. Minister Ellis to make the changes, Councillor Edwards. So, yes, so Minister Ellis has given me an undertaking that it will be corrected.
I do sincerely mean that there couldn't be a better person on there than you, for your experience with shooting.
I appreciate that.
Running Olympic teams and all the rest of it.
No, any questions that you might receive from members of the public, you can assure them that I am not representing council on that. I am representing me.
No worries at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the appointment anyway.
Thank you, Councillor Young. Any other questions?
Might be good that they know the packing.
Right. Agenda item 12.
Do we have statements? Do we have statements?
No.
Sorry. Agenda item 12 closed is a confidential information session, a confidential item session. So in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulation 2025, the Mayor declares the meeting closed to the public.
We have no statements here.
No, been removed from the agenda.
Really?
in terms of in favour of questions on notice and questions without notice.
Oh.
Yeah, so, okay.
When was that moved and approved?
It's part of the new process for the agenda. There's no provision in the Act or in the meeting procedures for comments by statements statements by councillors in the agenda.
Yeah, but it can be approved by the council itself to have them.
Hasn't been yet.
No.
Yeah, but Anna Reynolds told me that. She said if the council agrees to have statements, they have statements.
Yes, but it was never ever agreed. It was just put into the agenda a few 2 or 3 years ago.
Can we have a vote on it?
I'm sorry, councillors, this is not a debate session. We do not have comments or statements by councillors on this particular agenda. The matter will be discussed when we come to a more contemporary agenda.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but council did make that decision because I remember when I joined and we had a subsequent one with Greg Ingham. So if things like that, which are where we actually get to talk to community, are being removed, that seems like that should come to this group.
I can't add it to this agenda because
I
it's not actually
understand,
on there.
but it should be a point of discussion.
It's something, councillors, please, one at a time. It is something that can be discussed when we look at a more contemporary agenda. Okay?
Next workshop.
And that's happening in the next workshop. Thank you. So, agenda item 12 is confidential items. And in accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Meeting Procedure Regulation 2025, as Mayor, I declare the meeting closed to the public in order to discuss the following matters. Requests for leave of absence, notification of leave of absence for parental leave, minutes of the closed session, ordinary council meeting held on the 27th of January 2026, Tribunna Tomorrow Marina Precinct Infrastructure Project update, and the appointment of selection panel for the recruitment of a CEO. The recommendation is on page 76. Councillor Walker.
I move that council moves into closed session at 5:04.
Thank you. Seconder. Deputy Mayor, thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Councillors, just bear with me. Let's, Mitchell Moore, can you confirm that the recording has terminated, please?